G'day guys. Hope you guys are having a great day today. And I love my OBS sources at times because they always just disappear to guest. But I've got Crunchy here today, and Crunchy, if you guys don't know who Crunchy is, he's been a professional CS:GO player, then went to Valorant, then came back to CS2, and you've been practically everywhere in gaming, everywhere in geography. What places haven't you been? What places esports haven't taken you yet? Like, what areas?
Europe, I think, is the only place I haven't gone to like compete yet. I've done Asia, I've done America, but yeah, just Europe.
Yep.
Hopefully that changes soon though, if I'm lucky.
Yep. So, where did you start off in? Like, 'cause I know you started in CS:GO because I casted you at some point. Like, how did this entire esports journey start?
I mean, it started in CS. Like I would just play after school and whatnot. And then I think I was like 15 or 16 when I got rank S.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, wow, I can probably do something with this because I never worked a normal job. It was just like
Mm-hmm.
I'd get money from streaming because for some reason, like I made a lot of money from streaming at that point. I'd make money from like the rank S leaderboards because they offered a crazy amount of money for
Yep.
what it was. It was like weekly, a couple hundred USD in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And then I took a break for school, like my final 2 years of high school.
Yep.
And then I played Quake, and that was when I had my first like pro
Mm-hmm.
team, I guess. It wasn't salaried, it was like Avant. I was signed to Avant. I
Mm-hmm.
could have gotten to go to Europe then because we had
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like PAX Oz,
Yep.
and I was meant to go play. We like qualified for PAX Oz, the
Mm-hmm.
final. And I had food poisoning on like the
Oh
day of the
no.
final. I had to fly in a sub last minute, and I was like in hospital. I was like just throwing my guts up nonstop.
Yeah.
Then,
Yep.
yeah, after that, I like went to Europe for like a gap year.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been to Europe, just not for gaming. I spent a couple
Yep.
months over there,
Yeah.
just
Because I
hopping
remember,
around.
I remember draft back in my first Dreamhack Winter, there was a Quake champion sort of thing, and there was an Australian there. Okay, I don't think he got
Yeah, it was
too far.
Danicking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, I'm not sure how far he got in the end because I was always like, because the stage looked fucking awesome. Like at DreamHack Winter, it looked amazing. As I was sitting there going, like, just checking if he's winning or not, because I was watching Na'Vi v Gambit, and I'm not sure of how well he did. Do you know how well he did?
Probably not great.
Yeah.
Like Aussies historically like struggle a fair bit overseas. Like
Mm-hmm.
until Zeniku, he's done alright. But before him, back in like Quake Live, early Quake Champions, it was pretty rough. I think maybe the highest an Aussie got was like top 16 or top 32 at a dual event. But yeah.
So
It was so fun to play.
So like, how did you even get into Quake in the first place? Because you're playing CS 1.6 or Source, whatever that is at that time. I think it was Source. Like, how do you get to
Nah,
Quake?
just Go. I never played Source.
Okay, Go. Yep. I'm trying to think of back then. Okay, because I forget where Go came out and whatever.
Oh yeah. I started playing in like 2014.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I think I owned the at like 2013, but like I never really played it. I first started playing in like 2014. I want to say.
Yep. So you got into Quake. So what's the difference between Quake and CS:GO? And is there any other differences, any similarities to it as well?
It couldn't be more different, and because Quake is when you watch it, if you don't understand it, I had the same problem when I was like first entering it. It looks like it's all about like just can you aim better than the other guy? Yes or no? And if you do, you'll be better. But it's so heavy on movement and like it's like chess with bullets, if that makes sense. Like it's so much about like the mind games and the cool little movement tricks you can do and kind of stuff like that. And it made it very fun with me because I really just like 1v1 games. Like that's probably one of my favorite games I've ever played is like Quake Champions and Quake Live as well. Those two games so fun to compete in.
With Quake Live and Quake Champions, like what's the difference? Because I saw like there was free characters on the board when I was at DreamHack. Like, do you like pick free characters or something like that? Like, I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah. So the format for Quake Champions has changed. When I was playing, it was round based. So you select 3 champions, and then you select the map, and it's just like whoever gets to 3 rounds first, and you gotta either kill the other 3 persons' characters, or you like the round. I think it's like 5-minute rounds, but the round ends, and you've got more people alive.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Whereas like Quake Live and how Quake Champions is now is 10-minute duels, but you just pick a character, like one character for that map. And whereas Quake Live had no characters, right? It was just like everyone exactly the same. There's absolutely no difference. No difference between them.
Yep.
Because in Quake Champions, the different characters have different health pools, different abilities, but also in the way that they move. So, um, Anarchy, right? Anarchy has like CPM movement, right? It's more like way more air control, and you can do a lot more like crazy fast movement. The actual way that you move and accelerate is very different between the two characters. So, because obviously like CPM had different way of moving to Quake World to Quake Live, and so Quake tried to like synthesize all of those together in one. Makes sense.
Okay. Because I do recall, like, Quake has, like, a really, really wide POV, or, sorry, not POV, FOV.
Yeah, you can change it, but, yeah, it definitely, people tend to play, like, their FOV, I would say, and then, you just have toggle zoom, because there's no, like, ADS, you can just, like, just jumps, like, do you remember, like, the old CS, like, CSGO, sorry, CS sources, like, AUG and the Krieg, how, like, it wasn't a scope, it would just, like, zoom you in?
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to that, right? So you could just still ADS if you're on an LG.
Okay.
Like that. But Quake Champions was very easy for newcomers compared to the old games, because like especially the new characters that came out were like kind of busted for a period, and it was much more newcomer friendly in compared to the older Quakes. Like in older Quakes, you would just get 20 to 0'd by someone that's like 5% better than you, just over and over again.
Yeah.
There would be nothing that you can do. You wouldn't be able to get a kill. Whereas in Quake Champions, certain characters had like visor, you could see through walls.
Yeah.
You had like ultimate abilities, which is like ridiculous. Or you had damaging abilities. Like you could you get like telefrags with Ranger.
Yep.
And so it was a bit more newcomer
friendly. What was a telefrag? Is it just like you teleport and kill them basically, or is it just they die?
A telefrag is like when you if you come through a teleporter or use Ranger's teleport and you do it inside their model, it insta kills them.
Okay. So basically, like, I was gonna say like Duke Nukem, because you could do that as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, there are all these different ways you could get kills, which you couldn't in Quake Live.
Yep. So then going from Quake to CSGO, did any of the movement stuff come over to CSGO? Because obviously CSGO's a bit movement based, obviously, as well, especially like the counter strafing and whatnot.
Not really. The main thing that I took is like getting really good at handling pressure, because there's no one, and like getting really good at understanding my own faults and like demo reviewing, match prepping, because there's no one, if you lose on you, like there's very little RNG in those games. It's very rare to get unlucky. That's what's great about it, is like every time that you lose, it is entirely your fault. And it was it sucked at the start, right? Because you have no one to blame but yourself. But eventually it becomes very satisfying when you climb. I've never, like, prior to that point, I'd never watched so many like demos of like pro players or watching my own footage back. And because in CS before that point, I'd just never watched demos like at all. Like I never really watched them until maybe like Valorant, really. Yeah.
Yep. So first of all, so you got to CSGO. Which team were you in CSGO? I know you played it. I'm just trying to think which team you played for.
I mean, probably the only like good teams that I played for was like Downfall at the end.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I qualified to MDL like 3 or 4 times. I think I qualified to CGP twice, but I never like played them, because I was always like I was traveling to Europe, or I was paying for school, or something like that.
Was that Downfall roster with like Moop and 2D and whatnot?
Yeah. That was like the last roster I played on before Valorant. That was like 2019, I think it was.
Yep.
But yeah, so we qualified to that. I played on Surge as well with like Muju, Senpai Madara, who's now Bob.
Oh, that's probably where I remember you as well from that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we played ESL ANZ Challenger with that. But that was a fucking nightmare. Like if you my HLTV from that is just like straight red, dude. It's just like no positive games. I was just like, I'm miserable.
So firepower 0-2, utility 0, everything 0.
Basically, yeah. I was actually embarrassing to look at. Like it's so bad. But yeah, Downfall was much better. And I had a lot of fun in that, and that was kind of where I was able to apply a lot of the learnings from Quake, from other stuff. I also had a very small period where I like subbed in for Avant for a couple of events, because I was still contracted with them.
That could have been there as well. like with Downfall in particular, because you guys upset a lot of teams. Because I remember like you guys beat a lot of teams that were like, how is this team doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, how do you handle that sort of pressure when you're like, you're versing teams that should beat you, and you just absolutely flatten them?
Well, the important thing is to think that you're better than everyone, like
Yeah.
on the other team. Like even when you're like, say you're versing FlyQuest, you've gotta. This is gonna sound silly, but you've got to believe like deep down that you are better than every player on that team, and that
Yeah.
you can't be scared. You can't let them push you around and like disrespect you. You've got to like assert yourself, right?
Uh-huh.
And obviously after the game, then you be humble and then you like, look at your mistakes and you can be like reasonable. But
Yeah.
like while you're actually in the server, you've got to genuinely believe. You got to be like almost delusional that you are that good that none of these fuckers are better than you.
Oh, the funny part is I saw that with Krass when he knifed Ali, and I'm like, yeah, boy, he's gonna get a fucking. He's gonna.
Yeah, stuff like that. Or like, I can't remember who it was, but I remember there was it's like some chat messages got leaked on Twitter from someone from KCG. I don't remember who it was, but they were saying actually it might have been Payne,
Yep.
but he was getting like roasted and flamed for saying that he thought he was better than PZ. And
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
definitely
I
was
messaged
Payne.
him. Yeah, I messaged him like, dude, don't like get upset at that. Like that's like it's good that you think that you're better. Like it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you believe that you're better, that's a good thing. Like it's
Yep.
very important that you have that like self belief. Because even when we went to America in Sonics and we versed Sentinels,
Yep.
like all of us thought we were better. Like I was like, I'm gonna shit on tens. I'm gonna shit on fucking sick. All these people, like I'm better than them. That's how you gotta be.
I think I told him as well. Like there's that point what you said, and there's crossing the line what he did as well with what he called PC.
Oh, it's different if you're like,
yeah.
I wasn't really like in the scene at that time. I just kind of saw it because I think someone I follow like either commented on or retweeted it. But it's different if like you're shit talking them in the game, being like, you're a piece of shit. I'm better than you in the match. But like as long as you have that belief, that's what's important.
Yep. So then you get to Valorant. So you're contracted to Avant. You move to Valorant. So how did that start? Really, like obviously, how do you get into Valorant in the first place?
Well, I think I got a beta key actually, and I had basically made the decision that as soon as it was announced and I saw what the game was like, I was gonna go full-time Valorant because I had fucked up my rep pretty badly in CS because I was a toxic little 16-year-old 17-year-old. And obviously it doesn't matter how good you are, if you're an asshole, people don't really want to play with you. So I told my team as soon as Valorant was announced, Downfall at the time, that as soon as this releases, like I'm out. You can replace me now if you want, but when this game comes out, I'm moving over instantly. And I played it like literally 10, 12 hours a day, every day, just grinding ranked, because they only had American servers at the start. And there was an Oz tournament. There was a few, maybe 3. In the beta, and we won the first one. But I made it was like me, Deoxide, Ferg, Pred, and then a guy from Apex called Air. And we just grinded so much. We lived and breathed that game.
So So what happened with the first tour that came along? Because of course, like before Sonics, you guys were you picked up by Sonics before that big tournament when you guys had to get to North America?
So we were with EXO first, who was an Apex org, from what I understand. I think that now they're more like a general content creator org now. But at the time, so we played a couple of events. Our team kind of disbanded. Like Ferg went to like Order. I think they were called Launch at the time. But he went to that team, and then Deoxide went to. He had the quit or something happened with him. I can't remember. And then I got the offer to go join EXO. Which was Plix, Dizzy Life, Iron, Bob, and then me. I replaced Autumn because Autumn didn't want to like sign, or there was some problem with him where he couldn't play. And first, there was the first big tournament, like official Riot hosted tournament, was I think it was Ignition Series. And we came second in that, I want to say, but I got banned like just before the tournament started. That sucks. I got anti-cheat banned, false positive. But and so the only reason I have a career now, or I was able to do anything, is because of mainly Inve. This guy actually saved my fucking ass. went over because like at the time they said to me
Yeah.
they stand by the ban. It was legitimate. It was not a false positive, and I'm staying banned.
Uh-huh.
And then they also threatened that if I ever spoke out about the ban at the time, obviously now I'm not competing in Val, so I don't give a fuck. But they said basically if I spoke out about it, I would get banned again, and they would just reinforce the ban. So I was basically
Jeez,
it
that's
was
rough.
ridiculous, dude. It was
That's
and
like
so they
that's like
paid
a
me, and
yeah.
then but yeah, so what it was that caused a false positive is because like I had a period where I was just like grind name trainers. I was like super into like bettering my mechanics for some time, and
Yep.
there are like a program there that like randomizes your mouse sense like
Yep.
on a between two extremes, right? So as you're like flicking, it will go from like half to double,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And this program, which was written by two guys, one of them was Kovac himself, right? He like helped make it with a guy called Whisper, and so
Yep.
I got them both into talks with Riot to like help explain like this is what caused it. They confirmed it on their system that was it, and yeah, they like silently unbanned me and basically said if I speak out about it, I'm just gonna get banned again. So just keep your mouth shut. And then
Jeez, that's
I don't
rough.
think it was ever I don't think it was ever officially said what happened. It was just kind of like swept under the rug and forgotten about.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like I don't know, like it's
Riot
bit.
suck, dude. Riot fucking suck.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like that's like it's like you can't speak up about it, but also at the same time you're banned. It's like a Kafafka trap. Like if you speak about it, you're dead. If you don't speak about it, you're also like you're not helping yourself either. But
Yeah.
you did talk about Invade. So obviously Invade's been part of Order. This is the third time I've heard that he's saved someone or been intervening with someone's career. So what did he do? Did he like walk up to Riot's officers and be like, "Yo, got Kovac and Wispy here. They say this happened."
No, he was so first off,
Yep.
how it happened was I logged on to play the semifinals and I had like I had an alt account at the time and my alt account was banned, right?
Yep.
And I said to him what happened, and then he's like, "Look, just see if you can make another account. Like, we'll deal with this." Like, obviously, believe that I wasn't a cheater.
Yep.
Because at the time I was like being mass reported, and
Isn't that like a big issue of the pros life? Is like you've got these people that just don't like you and just mass report you all day and stuff like that.
it's just I was like inslocking Jet in like high yellow with like a silly account name, and I wasn't using my mic.
Dude, come on! Like, you are literally the meme. You are literally the meme that people post on Twitter.
Yeah. I was bragging though. I was, but anyway, so he asked me, just make another account, see if we could, just move past this and we'll sort it after the event. And again, that account got banned after I made it like instantly. And I had a chat with Riot. Riot said they stood by it, and he like went above and beyond, like insisting that they look into it. It's a false positive. I went and spoke to Kovac and Whisper, and he did. He was just on the case like 24. I woke up the next day, like expecting to just go, go back to uni and kind of do normal stuff, and career's done. And then he like messaged me in the morning, like like we've sorted it. You're good to play. You basically pulled an all-nighter trying to fix the stuff with like working with the local Riot and then the global Riot studios, and it was all resolved. Played the semifinals that day, won, and it was like a very crazy kind of 24 hours for me.
And then
also my org as well like stood by me. They didn't believe it. No one on my team like thought I was cheating. Everyone thought it was like they backed me, and to the point where the org said like EXO said that even if Riot didn't unban me, they'd keep me on salary. They'd move me to like another game, or they have me as a streamer or something until they can find out what the fuck the go is. Yeah.
So after that, so with EXO, like how did EXO move from EXO to Sonic go? Like what was the change up there? Like how did you feel, and what went on?
So it was pretty crazy. So we won most of the events in Australia. I think we lost the Chiefs tournament, and we came second in Chiefs. We came second in the Ignition, the Order Valorant Open, I think it was called. And we won like Rise of Val. We won a bunch of events, and our org was like management kind of had a split, right? Some people wanted to like scale down and not put as much money in. The other half wanted to like go crazy and like really like build a go even bigger. And so they couldn't agree. And so they let us go, and they were like helping us talk to different organizers. And from what I understand, the owner of Wildcard and the owner of Sonics were like best buds.
Yep.
And so the owner of Wildcard spoke to the owner of Sonics, Tribizzle, and got him to like pick us up because we were, a good team that was like not under contract, and we could do something with that, or he could do something with us. And yeah, we just had the negotiations. It was all super quick, super easy, and then we moved over and straight into practice and tournaments. It was very, very quick, like much more than I would expect.
So in North America, like where did you go down to in the end in North America? Like do you go to, Dallas, Austin, Texas, or like what state?
We were living in Philadelphia.
Oh, so Pennsylvania. Yep.
Pennsylvania. And so we first were like living in Harrisburg, like the capital of Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And then after a little bit hazy on the exact amount of time, but I think it was maybe after like 6 months to like 9 months, we moved to Philadelphia, and we were like smack bang in the middle of the city. And we stayed there until the org. I think I finished there in November or December of 2022. And then the org like kind of shut down straight after that anyway. So
yeah, because they disbanded their WoW guild as well, because obviously they needed raid to world first. Well, not really, because they weren't any good anyway. But like I do remember them quite a bit, and they also had an arena team as well. So overall, like in Philadelphia, like how was it? Because obviously it was towards the tail end of COVID, or was there any lockdown or anything like that, or?
It was America was pretty chill. It was nice. Like I went from like because I live in Melbourne, right? So we basically had curfew here, and it was just ridiculous, man. It was insane. And so you go to America, and it's just like the complete opposite. Like nobody's wearing masks, nobody really cares. Kind of just do whatever you want, and it was so nice, man. So nice. So yeah, I honestly I didn't really go out that much. Like I didn't do much exploring. I kind of just like had practice. I went to gym with Dizzy. That's like that was my life was Valorant and gym with Diz. That's it.
One other question out of nowhere. Okay, one of my viewers is asking: were you ever in a team with Liaz?
Liaz,
yeah.
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But also the other question is: did you have a Philly cheesesteak? Real questions.
I did, dude. That's so good. They're actually incredible.
Did you go to any Did you go to any of the baseball games or NFL games or anything like that? Or even NBA?
I know Ian went to like a bunch of the NBA games. Because like our org was like really well connected, so he got like insane seats for it. But I'm not like I don't watch sport. I'm like the most fucking boring normal person. Like when I'm doing something, I'm just focused on that. Like the only other thing I'll do is like, I'll read books and I'll work out. Like that's it. I'm a fucking straight normie. Like very boring in that respect. All I care about is my work.
Yeah, I was gonna say Philadelphia just won the Super Bowl as well. I would have, if you said the NFL, I'm like, it would have been like, have you ever done a tush push before? But obviously you don't get that.
I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. That sounds. It doesn't sound good.
It's a funny thing ever. Like basically, it's an NFL tactic where they just launch the quarterback forward. So like they literally just push his bum to like launch a few yards. Yeah, and it's a meme because like a bunch of teams try to get it banned, and the joke was it's called the brotherly shove.
Okay.
So
I've never watched an NFL game at all, but yeah. I see like clips of like Patrick Mahomes on Twitter every now and then.
The funny one you gotta see is the butt fumble. Okay, you gotta Google that, and you'll fucking laugh your ass off at how bad it is.
Okay.
But anyways, let's continue on. So you're in Philadelphia. It's like, how was Sonics during that time while you were in Philadelphia? Like, were you winning against good NA teams? Like, were you just smashing Sentinels and 10s? Like, what went on down there?
It was a bit of a mixed bag because at the start we were like looking pretty good. We would only really lose to like Sentinels, TSM, teams like that, like actual top teams. But there are a lot of like behind the scenes problems with like management roster because a lot of the players on the team wanted to like change the team, right? And we wanted to basically remove Iron, bring in Autumn, or bring in Ninum.
Yep.
For years, we were not years, but like for probably upwards of a year, we were like trying to make that happen, and it just never happened. And after Chris ended up like just having a mental boom and like full crashed out because of how bad the situation was in the team. Like I remember he walked in, right? We were like, I think it was we were looking. It was one of our peaks, right? We had one of our peaks, and we kind of were dropping off a bit. And we were like, all right, guys, we've got to fucking play more. All right, we got to practice more. We've got to do more so we can get better because we're falling off a little bit. You know, we're having a dip in our results. And everyone was in agreement. So then Ian was like, yeah, I've actually booked a holiday, so I'm not doing that. I'm going to be gone for like 2 weeks. And then Chris like flipped out. He was not having it, dude. He full flipped out and was, you know, saying like, you have to cancel it. You can't do this. Like, we came here for a reason. We're a team. Like, you know, you didn't tell anyone about this and you're just like leaving. Like, you got to cancel it. And he's like, no, I've already booked it. Like, it's already done. Unlucky. Yeah. And Chris just walked out and said, I'm not playing. Walked out. Never wasn't with us anymore after that. So yeah, there are a lot of problems in the team that kind of stemmed from Ian. Really, that was it. Like, I feel like, and most people, I don't know if they'd say it publicly, but most people on the team did think that if we had just simply gotten rid of him earlier, we would have been like winning against better teams because we did have some good results. Like, we beat Cloud9, we beat Gen G, we're beating Ghost. Like, we're so close to qualifying challenges. We were one game off qualifying.
Oh, jeez. It was like, you know, difference of opinion or whatever. Like, you know, some people only want to get to here, but others want to go for, like, you know, the crown overall sort of thing.
Yeah. It was stuff like that where it's just like work ethic wasn't the same across the board, and people had different kind of how we should move forward and how we should play the game and all this shit. There was a whole variety of things, and eventually our roster kind of fell apart slowly. Like, first Chris left, and then he was supposed to join another team, but you know, our org, they were good in that they provided most things that we needed at the time. Like, if we needed, I don't know, like
the mouse or anything like that.
Yeah, shit like that, you know, like they'd be good with that. And they had, like, you know, nice apartments for us and whatnot. But when it came to like making roster moves and trading players, like Chris was meant to go to Immortals. Like, there were multiple players, like one of the American players had an offer for FaZe. And he only found out about that like much later because the org was just like, nah, he's not going, he's not for sale. You know, so
the atypical contract.
Like pretty much everyone on the team was like fucked by contracts in one way or another. Like me, Dizzy, Bob, fucking Chris. It was a nightmare. Like Rooney. That was rough. But,
so like, how do you deal with like being in contract jail and not, like, you know, let's just say for example, like, you know, in that situation where you just couldn't get out of it or go to another team when you wanted to desperately get out, like, how do you deal with that? Like, you know, trying to stay fully professional while trying to leave at the same time.
Well, at the end of the day, there's not much you really can do aside from like not being emo and just like losing your motivation. Like, you've just got to keep trucking. Like, the way I thought about it was, if I'm getting these offers now, and if I keep playing good, I'll get them in the future as well. And it's just like, just got to keep pushing forward and just trying to keep getting better and better. So that when either you're free from your contract or when a bigger team comes around and you're like still in good form.
That's more just like advertising yourself essentially as well. And the next part as well, because you have like a lot of Australians, and you guys, like, is this your first time like traveling out and moving somewhere else to live for like a long time? Like, did you get impacted by homesickness or anything like that?
Not really homesick. It was probably the longest. I mean, I stayed in Europe for like 3 months, but aside from that, it would probably be the longest that I've been away from home for. And it was pretty chill. Like, you're just so busy that you don't really have time to like think about stuff like that. I'll be honest. Like, we're doing, like, for our boot camps, we'd be doing like 12-hour days, like Monday to Sunday, like 7 days a week, like that. You don't really have time to do anything else.
Does that impact on anyone in your team at all or anything like that? Like, you know,
some people did not cope well with it at all. Yeah, and it caused some like problems, but because
I remember
it was worth it. Played good.
I remember Dexter like talking about it as well. Like, you know, the curfews in Europe, because the big thing he loves doing is swimming, and he couldn't do that. Because he was playing for Mouse at the time. And you know, I watched that Mouse feel like, I'm like, oh damn, that, you know, I can understand, like, because all I do, like, is either treadmill or gym and stuff like that, and I'm fine. But like, yeah, that would be kind of frustrating.
Yeah, like luckily for us, because we all lived like close to each other. Like after practice, it would be like me, Dizzy. When we had Chris on the team, Chris would come, and then one of our coach would come, and maybe someone else would accompany us. But we'd all go gym afterwards,
yeah,
just kind of like de-stress like that,
yeah, with Valorant overall, because there's no demos you can review other than the main broadcast. Like, so I know that part of it. But how do you scrim with other teams? Was like just make a lobby and go for it, or
Yeah, it's the same way as you start a tournament. It's just everyone gets in the lobby. You turn on the fucking sheets and whatnot, so you can play out all the rounds and all that jazz and then go. But yeah, our team was like funny because we would we were known as like scrim demons, like actual scrim warlords, because we would be beating all of these teams like
yeah,
relatively consistently. Like we'd be doing really well. And then we'd go play a tournament and we'd just get beaten by shitters, dude. It was so embarrassing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an analogy for it, but yeah, like everything works in warm up, but it's just like the main stage, fucking stage fright.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like stage fright. 'Cause I didn't feel.
Yeah.
It's just like communication was bad, like well, people got a little bit too in the head, or
Do you have any like performance coaches or anything like that to help out with that, or was Sonic's not that big of an org to have that?
I mean, we had Pocket Psych for some time. She was very, very helpful. She was great, but she didn't stay with us for too long because there was like problems with her, and they parted ways.
Yeah. So after like Sonic's after everyone's contract went up, did you try to stay in America, like to try and get a team in there before coming back to Australia?
Yeah, it was that was funky, right? So I got a little bit pissed because basically what happened is when everyone gets benched on the team, they like when Plix was benched, she stayed in Sonics for like 6 months. When Bob was benched, she stayed for like 6 months. Dizzy for like 4 months.
Yeah.
Right. Like I got 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay.
Jeez.
And so what happened was I got an offer to play a tournament with Oxygen Academy.
Yep.
Back there was no like main. They were just called Oxygen Academy for some reason.
Yep.
I was like, it wasn't like a trial. It was just like sub for us for a tournament, and then I played lights out. And after that, they were like talking about bringing me in full time. And the problem is that they couldn't get a visa fast enough. Right?
Oh no.
That fucking sucks. So and then also I had a trial with Guard. I was meant to. I think I was going to trial for like Saya player. I think went to T1, and so I was meant to trial Jet. And again, my visa, like they couldn't get the visa for like that. The visa process fucked me basically because I had 2 weeks, and 2 weeks of a trial like isn't long enough if there's no officials.
Yeah, and also not to mention like the visa system in America is quite tough at times.
Yeah, it could be a little bit cancer. Yeah, it could be a little. But that's happens like so many times. Like it's like how I feel like I've gotten so unlucky in Valorant with like teams so many times because there was like a time earlier before I left to come back to Australia where I got an offer for T1, right? And what happened was it was end of year. I think it was end of 2021. Basically, what we had finally like gotten the all clear to like make the dream team, right? So it was at the time it was like me, Jason, Bob, and then we're gonna find 2 players that we really like, right? And we're gonna build a team around like mainly me and Jason as like the star players, and then Bob would be our IGL, and it was gonna be fucking beautiful, right?
Yeah.
It was after VCT qualifiers. We had like missed out or something. We had a good run, and so this is all meant to happen. And then I got an offer from T1 at the time, right? Because we beat them in VCT, and I asked my org and like, look, I've got this offer. Can I trial? And like, if it doesn't go bad, I'll obviously be committed to you guys. If it does go bad, I'll be committed. They said, no, you either go with T1 or you stay with us. If you try with T1, we're canceling your visa. And so I thought about it, right? And then I, spoke to my coach, was told about how the team is going to be built around me and Jason. And, so I said, fuck it. Like, I think we can be better than T1 with this rebuild. Like, I have full faith. This is going to be awesome. Right. So I said goodbye to everyone. I was with my ex-girlfriend, and we drove to Canada to like go see her parents. Right.
Yep.
And as I'm in the car to driving to Canada, I got a call from Chris, right? Now Chris hasn't been on the team for some time, and he told me like, "Yo, do you know that like Sonics is trialing players? Like, like what happened?" And so basically,
Oh,
my
shit.
coach didn't tell me. Like my coach, like fucked me and didn't tell me that he was trialing people for my spot. And when I called him the reason, because like statistically I was playing really well. I was like, I think at the time I was like the highest ACS on Astra in NA. Like
Yep.
I was having offers from other teams that I'd happily turn them down because they weren't like T1 was just like a big org and I wanted to play for them. But
so they're trying to ship you off and then denied from shipping you off, or was it making it wrong?
Yeah. So basically, they didn't want me to go. Right? They said if I trial for T1, they'll kick me out. So I turned T1 down. I said I'll stay with Sonics, and then when I went off to go for my Christmas break, they started trialing people for my spot without telling me. And so then I have to call up T1, be like, "Yo, is that spot still open?
Oh,
Like, I know I
no.
turned you guys down. Like, yeah." And so obviously the spot had already been filled,
Yep.
and I spoke to my coach, like, why the fuck is this happening? Like, there's no. I played good. I never had any problems with people. Like, it's been pretty chill. And apparently, because I had like really bad insomnia, like really bad insomnia, and that was the reason that he gave me for like them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that that's a reason to just kick you out. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. And again, nothing really happened because I came back and then I got an offer for Ghost and for Dark Zero, and I trialed for Dark Zero, and because I'm on the bench, right? I'm trying for different teams. They're okay with that. Dark Zero offer like it's like 15k or 20k, and then Sonics goes, nah, not for sale, and they just bring me back to the main team like nothing ever happened.
Jesus Christ, the wonderful world of esports, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so stupid, dude. It's so stupid. But yeah, that's it happened to same shit happened to like Rooney. He was getting offers from like FaZe and C9, and it's just a nightmare. Like with that org, they were so bad with dealing with players and like transferring them.
So you came back to Australia. Did you try to like go to Europe or Asia or anything like that to try and fill in for a team down there? Like, see if you could just get that one shot, or you're just like, nah, I'm done with this BS. I gotta go back to Australia, study my degree. Like, what happened?
Yeah, so I came back to Oz, and I was just gonna chill with I reunited with Plix. It was like me, Plix, Noz, RDW, and Dragon, and we were in it like we made Bobo, and we're just gonna try to go Ascension, see if we can get an org in Australia and all that. And I was kind of happy just to play in Oz for a while. I wanted to get back to America, and I had some like opportunities that kind of fizzled out, unfortunately, because of just visa problems. Was the main one. But pretty early on in that year, I think it was before the first split even ended, I got an offer to go to Maryville, and like play in that collegiate team with like JC Stani, Eccles, Frosty ZK. So it was like big name players, and yeah, so I was kind of just sitting on that because that was going to be like I go at the end of the year, but it's just because university as well. I have to do so much extra shit to like
study there as well.
Yeah. So I went and did that at the end of the year. I only lasted like one semester.
Okay, so
that just
like how was it there? Like in particular, like what sort of requirements do you have to meet, or can you not reveal it?
For Maryville?
Yeah.
It's just like the whole choosing your classes, like getting me in the system, like all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like anything crazy. It was just like getting me in the system, picking out my club, making sure I'm eligible. I have to get all of my documents from Australia over there. They have to like verify my documents. It's just a whole process because I'm a foreign student.
Yeah, exactly. And you got the nightmare scenarios. I have a lot of people as well, like, trying to get, how much credit does it get in this system and whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, and because like I did stuff in high school, I did like accelerated classes for. I did part of my degree in high school. And then like I was trying to see if those could count. Turns out they just don't count. So I did all that shit for nothing. But yeah. So that was the main reason.
I got screwed over on my commercial law. My commercial law unit. It was the last year of the current legislation before the new legislation kicked in, so it didn't count. Even though the old legislation is basically the new legislation, but codified.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like my whole semester I did there, like I had like 4.0 GPA, Dean's List. And it just didn't count at all for any of these Australian unis either. It was just such a fucking pain. So I don't get any credit on my degree. All good.
So pretty much like after that, you went back to Australia. Any more international like gigs after that? You said Bobo in particular.
Well, yeah. So Bobo was like the main one, and that was an Oz team, and I did play both splits with them. Because it like the timing worked out. I had like an American land in between. Like I think it was in June or July. I went out to
Yep.
Chicago for like some land and just like get some scrim time with the team.
Yep.
Because there was a point where I was like scrimming. I'd like sleep at like what 10 and wake up at like 3 or 4, go gym, have crack with Americans at like 8 a.m.
Yep.
And then do two scrim blocks plus theory, have a nap, scrim blocks with the Australian team plus theory, and then go to bed. Like it was
Jeez.
so exhausting. But yeah. After that, I went to Maryville. That didn't last long. Again, I got unlucky as fuck there as well because I think it was in the first like 3 weeks of me arriving, right? We scrim Cloud9,
Yep.
main team, and they're doing their roster rebuild, right? And I like shit on them, and I speak to MC, the coach MC afterwards.
Yep.
And I get offered a trial, right?
Oh no.
The next week, right? I rock up on the day of my trial. I'm like, yo, where is everyone? Like, I'm here. It's it's 2 p.m. He tells me, oh, we'll try again tomorrow. Like we couldn't make it today. Something came up. We'll do it tomorrow. Same thing. Rock up the next day, and the whole team's been fucking fired, man. The whole team was dropped. The coach was dropped on the day of my trial. Same shit again. So
it's MC. It's MCE, right? Because he used to play CS, and they had like I forget his entire team. It was that Sword Gaming team with Exceeds and whatnot
as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was that guy.
Yep.
But yeah, and like I just didn't get along well at all with like the guys on Maryville. Like there was so many like personality clashes and like problems with the team. Like some of it was caused by me, some of it was other people. But yeah, like it was just
not workable.
Yeah, and so they just said like, look, we'll send you back. All good. Yeah.
Yep. So where is Maryville? Where is that? Like was that same area?
St. Louis.
Okay.
No, St. Louis.
So it's in LA. Oh, no, not LA. Sorry, California.
No. Maryland. I think it
Maryland.
is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so bad with my American geography.
It's it's East Coast. Yeah, all good.
Yeah, it's like near Chicago.
Yep.
We drove from St. Louis to Chicago. It was like 3 hours or 4 hours.
Yep. So now you come back to Australia again.
Yeah.
So what team do you get onto this time? Like in particular, like, what teams were you looking for at this stage, or were you just looking for a bit of a break?
At the end of Maryville, I was like grinding CS. I was playing so like 15 pugs a day. I was like trying to like make contacts in America and like kind of get my name out there a little bit. I made some contacts. Like I started speaking to like Stamina and we were trying to get him to like help coach one of my Oz teams. He was like a great resource for understanding the American scene and giving me like guidance for if I wanted to come to America, what I need to do and all that.
Yep.
But yeah, I came back and I was just like so burnt out from Val. I just didn't want to ever look at the game again. And came back to CS. I had an offer from who was it? I think Jinx messaged me because I knew Jinx for years now.
Yeah,
we'd never been like super tight, but like I just knew him because he played Battalion, he played CS early on. So, and it was like me, Jinx, Alec, Bumble, Triple S, and yeah, we like formed for Archon because they had like one ESC open, so we had the ECL slot.
Yep.
And there were like a bunch of events like really early on. So it was like the major qualifiers, ECL tournament. There was one other one, I think it was.
I can't.
But I mean, like some IEM qual.
Yep.
But yeah, there are a lot of events like early on.
Like, how crazy was it like early on for you guys, particularly when you started like taking maps off like some really like veterans of the ECL scene in particular and started performing quite well?
It was fun. It was really fun because the thing with Jinx and Alec is like they don't have like the resume in CS that other players do, but like they are so sharp, man. They're so good and really good work ethic, really good attitude, really good comms. Like they are great teammates, and it's no surprise when you look at them play that we were like doing that. we were able to do that.
Yep.
Because again, Triple S has a lot of experience coaching. He was like with EG and Tai Lu for some time.
Yep.
So like it didn't on paper, like if you just look at the names, wouldn't think it would be any good.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's what I said.
Experience to draw on. Yeah.
Exactly what I said at the start of the season. I was like, these guys aren't lasting very long. And then I think you guys upset like DXA or something like that.
Yeah, we took a map off DXA.
Yep.
We traded maps with Vantage, I think it was.
Yeah.
We got some nice upsets in like other tournaments as well. But yeah, it's just like unfortunate that it kind of went bad because Triple S got picked up to Arcade, I think it was, and then he was like the glue. He was the only reason the team was staying together because he was our IGL. He would do all the fucking strats. He was so knowledgeable about the game and like a really good teammate that he was like the sole person holding this project together. And then after he left, we just kind of forfeited and it was done.
Yeah, because I remember you guys were trying to get Verza in as well for a while, but Verza, like, tell me about that little story as well, because I do remember that.
So I think if memory serves, Versa was coming in for Bumble.
Yeah.
I think. Because Bumble had a lot of problems and I don't want to be mean and go over them too much.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah. So he came in. He came in to replace him, but I can't remember if it fell apart because Triplets left. It's kind of a bit hazy because a lot of shit was going on. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the only reason that didn't go through and we didn't stick together is because of Triplets going to Arcade, which of course we all told him as well when he got the offer that we'll kick him if he doesn't leave.
Yeah.
We forced him to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was going to say, because overall I think Triplets was like a utility man basically as well, because I think he got a lot of assists as well. It was just impressive to watch him play. Like, I was just sitting there like, man, the guy's trading out effectively, the guy's throwing pinpoint flashes, and it feels like he has kind of control of the game overall. It can really control the tempo.
Yeah, like he could micro people as well if needed. Like if people like forgot a strat or like they were uncomfortable in a situation, like he was a really good teammate. Put him in any position, like, and he would just deliver the goods. Like he just knew the game incredibly well.
Yep. And then you have like Alec and Jinx, who are like, you can tell they've played Fortnite duos together. Like you can just tell because like like watching them like trade out on each other and also like work off each other as well with no advantage. I was just sitting there going like, you can tell these guys play together a lot.
Yeah. There would be like times where they wouldn't even like talk to each other and they'd just be on the same page, like doing shit together. It was so crazy. They're a fun, like good for the vibes of the team as well.
Yep. And then after, sorry, continue.
I just think they surprised a lot of people with their performances. That was like their first real team basically.
Yeah, I think my only critic was to Alec is that he looks so tentative on the AWP. Like he looks like he does so unsure on the AWP half the time. And I was like going like, because
he's a little bit nervous sometimes.
Yeah, it's not bad.
He was getting better over time. Like he was getting the hang of it.
Yeah, because he was on the.
It's gonna be a pad.
He was either on the third or second map. He was fucking flooring Night Raid. And I'm like, oh, geez, he's in it.
Yeah.
So what happened after Archon? Like, did you try to go for any different teams or anything like that? What happened there?
Basically, I had a couple weird things. So I had one team that was like looking good, but one of their players was like a problem player. Like he had this kind of reputation that he was like not someone you want to associate with.
Okay, yep.
That much, right? And so I'm like, I don't want to throw my lot with this guy, so I kind of turned that down.
Yep.
And then I had an offer from Val at the time that we are going to get like salaried.
Yep.
And it was with Noah. And so Noah is like my best mate. So, if he was basically telling me that like, if I join, it was like important that I joined because they were using kind of my reputation and my name value to like secure this. So if they get it, then we can all get like a nice salary and, we'll go do stuff. And I can't remember if there was like boot camps onto it as well. And at the time, like I had spoken to one of my mates who was like in a top team at the time, and he basically said to me that my player stock was like very low. Like people thought I was just a bit of a beta. Because apparently the reason was that I posted like the stat page of my first tournament back, where I was like 8th or like 5th in stats. My first CS event, and so I was like, I just posted on Twitter because, like, why the fuck not?
So you're called Crunchy F. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, so Blame F, Crunchy F.
Yeah, something like that. So despite playing like the shit roles, because I would always play like small side anchor and stuff that, like Nuke Ramp or B Mirage, right? So despite that,
Liaz loves playing that. Okay, I get told all the time he loves it.
Liaz is the goat, right? Like, I'm not Liaz, unfortunately.
I just remember the interview, like, it's like, how's your international experience go with it? And poor Dinko, man, he just didn't know what he was getting into. He's like, yeah, just can't be fucked jumping. I feel it's like something about jump spotting B all day.
Yeah. I mean, I swear, Biguzero also said something similar. Like, he fucking hates playing B on Pain.
You know what Biguzero also hates as well? Being the second best IGL from his town, because also Fallen's from his town.
Oh, no way. That's crazy. Tough shoes to fill.
Yeah. But, so you got offered a contract with Valorant. So how did that go?
Yeah. Well, they just pulled out on us, and at that point, I'd already like committed to them, so I didn't want to like dog the guys. So I just said I'd play, and so I played playoffs for Split 1. I played all of Split 2, and then I said I just pieced it out. Like I wasn't really grinding the same way that I was before. I didn't have the same motivation. I was kind of like just I don't like to half-ass things. So yeah, I kind of pulled out and quit. And I also had a back surgery.
Oh, no. Yeah, you can't sit.
So I had back surgery straight after. Yeah, so I was like bedridden for like 3 weeks, and then I played a couple CS pugs because I think it was like top 50 in Asia or top 60.
Yep.
I didn't want to like lose my leaderboard spot. So I played some CS pugs just because I wanted to like use my fucking mouse. And I ran into like the IGL of True Rippers.
Yep.
And then, he offered me just a trial, like, from the pugs.
Yep.
And off we went. It was all very rapid. I had no intention of like, I didn't expect to come back. Like, not that I didn't have the intention, but like I wasn't like planning on it, I was planning on like being a normie.
I just don't know, how did that even occur? Because like I was like looking through the major qualifiers for the Asia scene. I'm like, what the fuck is Crunchy doing on True Rippers? So like, who did he play with from True Rippers?
Rossi. I ran into Rossi.
Okay,
because I would like pug. He was in like this guy's friend group that I'm friends with, like Anasasis. He's like one of the. He gets like rank 1 in SEA basically every season in Face It, right? He's just a pug lord.
Yep.
And so I'd play SEA a lot with like him and his bros, and he knew Rossi, and so Rossi just asked me to like. I ran into Rossi in like just a random pug, and then he asked me to pug with him, and then the day after that, he asked me if I wanted to trial, and apparently that coach had like gone through all my ACL VODs, and they thought I'd be like a good fit. And yeah, I tried, passed the trials, and then it was like literally within 3 weeks of like playing the game again, because I had like uninstalled.
Yeah,
it was very rapid.
How was like playing with True Rippers, particularly, especially in the Indian scene? Like, did you go over to India or anything like that, or?
Yeah. I mean, I lived there for like 4 months. I lived there for 4 months. It was different. It was different for sure. Like,
this is an important question. Is there anything equivalent to a Philly cheesesteak over there?
No, the food was not good. I couldn't eat food unless it was like McDonald's, like fast food, or like unless it was made, because they had a private chef at our boot camp. So unless the chef made it, or it was like American style fast food where like it's like, the good thing about Macca's is that like no matter where you go in the world, it's like pretty consistent. Like you don't have to worry about it being like making you sick. But everywhere else that I ate, instantly fucking like within 24 hours, I'm like throwing my guts up.
Was it the spiciness or like what sort of things?
No, it was just like food poisoning.
Okay.
Like the food wasn't spicy at all. Like everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's gonna blow your mind. It's so spicy. I don't think you can handle it." And it was like very, very mild. It's like jalapenos,
Okay,
like, that's about as spicy as it got. Jalapeno level.
So you played with True Rippers, you had personal chef, you had all that stuff in particular. Like, how was it different to playing like for an Australian team?
Main thing is like language barrier, right? Because the way that we speak and interact with each other, like sometimes it doesn't exactly translate. Like you'll be cracking a joke and it like
Falls
it'll
flat.
be taken the wrong way. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Sometimes like there are a couple times where I just feel like taking the piss and like messing around, and someone would think I was like actually being mean to them, or
Okay.
I have I have to explain that like I'm not being mean to you. It's just like something that Aussies do. And we went through roster changes for that. Like we had Daymake originally. And so me and him were like tight as like we were on the same page 24/7. I was like helping teach him English because the main thing on the team was like language barrier because not everyone spoke. Like we had a German coach, so he spoke perfect English, right? So
who was the coach?
YB.
Okay, yeah.
German guy, old school player, but he was great. So, but like other people, like when we brought in McGill's because he came in to replace Crazy Gamer when he left. McGill's English was like horrific. Like we got to the point where we just put Defaulter and McGill's on the same sites together, and they would speak in Hindi.
Yeah.
And if we didn't know anything, then Rossi would translate and tell me and whoever else on the other side of the map, because we had brought in like Anasasis to like come play as well and to replace Roman.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it just reminds me of Terry and Banana on Art of War, where they speak
very similar thing.
Where they speak. Oh man, I'm terrible with
Mandarin.
Mandarin. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm terrible with like Cantonese, Mandarin. Which one is it?
Yeah, one of those languages. But yeah, it's very similar where they would just like speak those languages together, and then if we needed to know, they would just translate for us. And yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it was making the best of a bad situation, really.
Yep. So how did the major qualifiers go? Because obviously you guys got very close, but not close enough.
Better than expected. We didn't have much practice. We had probably less than 3 weeks practice for that event. And the best part about being over there compared to here, though, is that you can practice so much more. So we were doing like 3 blocks a day, 2 hours theory a day, like a lot of hours, and we shapened up pretty well. It was just it felt like our team had a huge mental block against God's Reign.
Yeah,
like I don't know them at all, but like it felt like team when we versed them, it was like a foregone conclusion. Like we had already lost. It was just like, how were we going to lose? And that was like persistent across my whole time there. It's like whenever we versed God's Reign, it's just like getting clapped, and it was not even close. So yeah, it was just unfortunate that we versed them all the time, really.
Yeah, I do remember that. Like you guys beat these other teams, and then God's Reign just absolutely dumpster you, and it's just like, what?
Oh yeah. And then they would end up like losing to those teams, or they would like go close with teams that we like. They would get stomped by teams that we went close with, shit like that. It was like quite frustrating for us.
Do you guys get any wins over them in the end, or
no? It got so bad that we lost a 1v5 on USPs. I don't know. I posted that clip on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh no!
Fucking
lost
a 1v5.
Do I want to watch it? Probably not.
No, it's pretty funny, but it's worth if you want to like just get really annoyed at something.
Yeah. So it's just a mental block. Yeah, I've got to say. So what happened?
It was.
No, mental block is like you guys could never overcome God's Reign, even if they had a USP and like no hope or a dream.
Literally, yeah. That's how I felt at the end. Like people just accepted that they're better and never tried to like. That's kind of how it felt. There was that, but it was also combined with like because the team had qualified to that Sky Esports event. That's the last time they had beaten God's Reign. It was like to qualify to Sky Esports. Like both that they had, there was like ego in the team, whilst at the same time like it was a mental block. If that makes sense. Like after we made some changes to the roster, like it felt like people didn't want to like practice as hard, and that they were like good enough as is. Always placing second is not like placing second sucks. It sucks more than third, I think.
Like what makes you like feel? What makes you feel like second being like the worst point of it all? Like what sort of like? Yeah.
Because if you're second, like you're in the final, like you had a chance to win. Really, if you place third, fourth, anything else, even dead last, like
Yep.
you never really had a shot. If that makes sense, like you never could have won it. But like that, just being so close to like winning, it's the worst feeling because like those matches, at least for me, like just replay in my head over and over. Like even matches from years ago, dude. I'll like wake up in a sweat and just be like, "Oh my god, I fucked up that clutch," or something like that. Like I
Dude.
still, for instance, the Chiefs tournament we played where we came second, and it was in a best of 5, and we had like match point, and we like tossed a 2v1. Like that round relentlessly plays in my head because if we won, that was like the last map to win the tournament, and we would have won. Yeah, just fucking fuming. But yeah, stuff like that. So it just second to me feels so much worse than any other placing.
Do you like have anything to like manage that in particular? Because of course you said like certain rounds replay in your head over and over again. Like, were you helped out to like just manage that, like forget about, or just really just lock in instead, so like that never like lurches in at any point?
Yeah, I mean, the main way for me is I just try to like have a clear mind in my match. Like when I'm playing a match, the only thing that matters is like the match. Like nothing has ever happened before it, nothing after it. The only thing that matters is like the round in front of you. Like even if you're down, 111 and you're swapping sides, like none of the previous rounds matter at all. It's only you're like being completely present with your thinking. Like you don't try to think about too much about what they're doing in the past. Like you say, you've done your prep. You don't focus too much on that. You try to look at what's happening now, and because I notice this actually happened in our last game against God's Reign, is that the team, we did all this prep work for it, right? We'd found like if they do this smoke, this is always the tell, like
The telegraph,
certain con smoke, they'll always do this exec if they throw this single smoke here. It is like 100%. And then when we played the match, we would do like they would throw that smoke, but they wouldn't do the exec. It's like we're thinking too much in the past about like what we expect to happen based on the footage. Like we're not playing like present and like
I get you.
we're not focused.
Like you're not you're playing to what they did in the past. You're not playing to what you're actually hearing. What you like, you hear steps on B. You're like, no. If that smoke's there, they're going A.
Yeah, so like it's important, like before every map, you go walk around, get some fresh air, you do whatever you need, make a coffee, and just like make sure that you're dialed in for this map.
Yeah, I think one thing it reminds me of is Ruffleco's video about conditioning. Like they condition you guys to think that's gonna be an AX, but it's not.
Yeah, and again, we spoke to them. Oh, I spoke to one of them after the event, and he was saying that like they had purposefully done that because they knew we would watch their demos, and it's like fuck, man, like they had completely outclassed us like that, and they're yeah.
That's just pure evil, man. Like that's just pure evil.
It's good. It's just like that's what you're meant to do, but we just the team was like dead at that point. Like at that point we team was basically, we were told ahead of time that there would be major changes coming, so this event didn't really matter because even if we won or lost, the team would be completely different anyway. So it felt like some people like kind of checked out mentally a little bit.
Also, I was going to say, because I think is Rossi now playing with God's Reign? I'm trying to remember where he went, because I know he's definitely gone up in the world. Pardon?
He went to God's Reign,
yeah, that's right.
So that move was crazy because they kicked their AWPer for Rossi, and then their lurk player started AWPing, and it like you go look at the events when he joined, like they were actually like a pretty good team in like the overall Asian scene, but like when he joined, the old AWPer was so much better than the new one, and it just like cooked the team, dude. They were like losing to shit teams for a while afterwards. It only very recently has it like started to click, and it's been like several months now at this point because he left in like October, I want to say, or November.
Yeah. Now for yourself, like after True Rippers, what happened then? Because of course you didn't have a team. Like, did you stay in India? Did you try to go to Europe, anything like that?
I was cooking up a couple different things. So I had spoken to like the DXA boys now, like Keo and stuff.
Yep.
And so they had given me an offer to come play with them. And I was cooking up just a Europe trip with me and Roman. We were
Yep.
gonna go like live in Belarus together. And so I've put all the money aside for it, and we're at this point we're kind of just like waiting to see when it's going to be feasible to do so, because like
Obviously, yeah.
Russia just deployed troops in Belarus, which kind of makes it a bit funky. Like I don't know if I can go there now, right? Because before it was like safe, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously there are like travel warnings, but like it's pretty safe from all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also one of the only countries that he can go to because he's a Russian citizen, right? Like
Yeah, of
most
course,
countries don't want Russians like just being plain, and he wants to get out of Russia as quick as possible. So we're gonna go like live together for like 3 months, 4 months in Belarus and just like try to join teams together. Because he even subbed for us in this like recent blast event. So like me and him are like bros, and we're trying to do things together, if that makes sense. Like
Okay, so what's Roman's in-game name?
Damic.
Damic. Okay, he was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then you got to DXA. Obviously you guys did play that blast event in particular. I'm surprised. I was like, after I saw DXA exit CS, like we're not going to see that team again, are we? How's it going at the moment with DXA? Like, you obviously got yourself. I'm trying to think of that team at the moment. I know it's got Keo in it. Always has Keo in it. Can't not have Keo in it. So what's the team of DXA? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, right now it's like me, Helix, Keo, Lucas, and like we're swapped between people for the 5th, but it's like Matsudi, Complex, like it's changing as we go. But yeah, because we originally had Complex and Complex had availability problems, so we're using Matsudi now. I'm just trying to like play it by ear and see what the fuck happens, because we got dude, it's so lucky as well because Lucas arrived back from China like today.
Yep.
And the DFRAG closed quals Saturday, I think.
Saturday. Yep. Because I'm on it.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, lucky he got back in time, because it was looking like we may not be able to play if he didn't get back in time. But thankfully, it's all good.
Trying to see if I'm casting you guys. I don't think I'm casting you guys. I think I'm casting, or is it? I'm casting my favorite person, Foggers. Okay, that's who I'm casting.
See with KZG?
Yep, KZG best JF2. I'll be casting Foggy, and then whatever happens on Sunday.
Yeah, I think we versus Simplify first, which should be fun, because I haven't really played with those they're Latvian, right?
Yeah.
Or they
you're going to hate Keen so much, okay? Keen is going to just haunt your nightmares, because that fucker, you'd be like, I won't peek, and it's this wide swing and you're off the map.
I love that, dude. Let me fucking verse him. I'm so excited.
He's like,
yeah, I haven't really scrimmed them or like encountered them yet, so I want to see like how good they are, because I love playing against Europeans.
You should have seen
hugged a lot.
You should have seen Harper, man. Like I think it was like Karos. Harper got to all by Keen, and Karos is expecting him not to peek. Fucking Keen wide swings him, pops him off, and I'm like, that's probably traumatized him for the rest of his fucking career.
Beast, man. Actual beast, man. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm so excited to verse them. Like,
yep. Sorry, you're talking about
like
fucking in Europe. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I played against some of the tier 1 pros when I was like in India, like playing in Europe pugs on like 130 ping. It was like, so fun. They play so differently to like Oz pugs. Like that's the reason I'm like keen to play them, because I want to see how they stack up. Test myself against.
Yep. So with the Blast Asia, like, how was it different? Because obviously I didn't rate you guys going anywhere, to be honest. So how was it? Like, going into that tournament, Blast Asia, you got the VRS points and whatnot. Like, what was the prep for it?
We didn't really have any prep, right? I'm gonna be honest, because we didn't know if we could play it. Because we had to like dig out Cohen and Pracken from the grave, bring him back for one more game. Because we couldn't play.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the way VRS works is you need to play 3 maps to establish a new core.
Yeah.
Right. And so our team didn't really have that, so we had to like play with them to establish like the new core, to add meat to the core, and to add
Helix, I think it would be, or Matsudi. Yeah, Matsudi.
Helix. It was one of them. We had to play with one of them to like get it over the line, and the main thing is it allowed us to play events in future without like having to bring back Ruffleco or Preckham because they were on the old core.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a nightmare, honestly. Like they didn't have Guam servers for the first day. There were no Australian servers, obviously.
Yeah.
Like it was just a shit show, and like
Mm-hmm.
I think KCG pulled out. Like we were looking at pulling out as well.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Actually playing the game was fun because we got to verse like Chinese teams. We versed Just Swing. We got shit on, but it was a fun experience. We versed Rooster. Afterwards, we got shit on again, but it was also fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it's going to be really good in the future if Guam servers become the norm, because it allows everyone to like get good pings. The Chinese teams get like 50 ping.
Yeah.
Even Roman, this cunt's playing from Siberia, right? Like,
yep. Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere in Siberia,
yep.
and he gets like 100 ping to Guam servers.
That's
we get 90 ping. Yeah, it's crazy. Like all these different regions can play it, which usually when we play on, like when I was in India, it was either Singapore servers or Hong Kong servers.
Yeah.
And either way, someone is on 5 ping and the other is on like 90 ping. At least this way, it's like everyone's between like 50 and 90.
So how is it to play on effectively? Like, is there any teleporting or anything like that, or is it like just playing on WA ping?
It's probably a little bit worse than WA ping. You just have to be more mindful about like holding lines, because like one bad habit that I have is I love holding lines, but like you can't really do that in CS the same way that you can in Go. Like it's a bit different now.
Yeah,
and it's even more so punishing in Guam servers, because you can swing an AWPer on that ping and you can kill them very easily. And the higher the ping you are, like the main advantage you have when playing on high ping is just like swinging AWPers. It's crazy. So yeah, that's like the main thing. You just have to like jiggle lines and like hard peek instead of just holding like you would normally.
Yeah. So it's like with Just Swing off Nox, of course you versed a lot of domestic opponents. Did you learn much of Just Swing or anything like that in particular? Like, you know, what they did or anything like that? Because obviously you versed Rooster afterwards, and everyone knows what a TJP is like, basically.
Yeah, it was just a little bit hard because basically we had 2 subs, so it felt like that we couldn't show, like we could run most of the stuff that we had. Again, 2 subs, right? Like it was weird. I feel like there would be much more to take from it if we had our full roster.
Yeah.
It was, for me, it was just like fun to verse them and fun to see how we stack up. Like I want to know like that I'm not like way shitter on an individual level than, you know, like I minimum when I verse these people, I want to be like, yeah, I can. You can't just disrespect me and run me over. Like I can shoot back. I have to force you to play properly and give us respect. You know.
And then what do you think about the new Rooster roster in particular? You know, they picked up DPR now. Like, what do you think about them? Have you played Rooster before?
Not. I scrimmed them, I think, once.
Yeah.
Before. But no, they shit on us. So like, they're pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty awesome, man. Yeah, that was quite the clapping. But yeah,
there's
fun.
There's a reason why TJP's face it name's called Miseru 666.
Yeah, true. They're a good team though. I again, it was hard as well though, because like we can't. It felt like one of those games that we can't just like VOD review and like learn from to the same degree as you would if we had a stuff. But they probably would have just clapped us anyway. Like they're like a top 3 team in the region right now, excluding Talon and Mind Freak, because those teams are just never in the country for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So they're probably they're a solid team. They're pretty good.
Okay, I want to ask about this one because Kyo's mentioned it. Okay. Did Kyo's laptop let you guys down, okay? And were you guys close to getting him like an actual desktop PC instead of a laptop? Any memes?
Dude, I was begging. I was praying that this guy would have 0 kills for the official, because like in the second map versus Rooster, we started City Side Nuke, right? Guy has 0. He was like me today against fucking House Bets on Dust 2, okay? I cosplayed Kyo. That's where I got the inspiration from, okay?
You look like you're cosplaying
the example.
You're cosplaying Apoc Dud, mate. You got the shaved head. You look like a monk. The meditation clinic, man.
Yeah, but I was following the example set from my IGL, right? Because that's the important thing when he sets the example that we have to follow. And so
Yep.
I followed him in having 0 kills and a half. I think I ended on the same score that he ended on. We both had 3 kills at the end of it.
Oh, you did a Ryan, mate. You remember the Ryan from the NA scene where like he's actually a really, really good player. He was 0 kills for like 24 rounds of the map. And he got beyond James Bonded, okay? He was like beyond 07.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting 3 kills, as you said.
Beast mode, yeah. I mean, I like that game. It didn't even feel like I was whiffing. It was like, they go in A. I'm the B anchor, or I'm dying through a smoke, and it was kind of just unlucky because I played decently the other 2 maps.
Yep.
Yeah, Kier's laptop. Look, I don't think it would have changed the outcome, but it just gave us some ammunition to like kind of shit talk him a little bit, bully him.
So
that's like the main benefit.
Q, I can get my laptop out there. It's got a 3080 in it, okay? Sorry, 3070 in it, okay? And you probably would play better than your laptop.
Yeah, he had like 90 FPS, so I don't blame him like for being a little bit of a goober because we're on high ping plus 90 FPS. Like it's just a recipe for disaster. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now as well, you also filled in for Mindfreak today. Was that a bit of fun? Like, how much you enjoy it, with Tex and Tuxter?
Yeah, I mean,
with Tuxter, okay? With Tuxter, okay? It's Tex to Tux combined.
Yeah, I mean, they are like they've been playing together for like fucking nearly 10 years, right? Surely. Being close to that. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was really fun. Very, very different to what I was used to. Luckily, the positions that I was feeling, aside from Anubis, like on Chiripas, for instance, like I played ramp on, and I played B on Dust 2, so it's like it was familiar for those, but I'd never played B side Anubis before, so that was like a learning experience. It was good. It was like a different. You could really see like the experience of those players, especially like Tux the IGL. It was sick. Really fun. Yeah, obviously it was embarrassing going fucking like 0-10 or whatever it was. It was just like, nightmare scenario, dude.
Oh, definitely. But at the same time, you could be like, it's just my first day on the sub, guys.
Yeah, that's my excuse. I was gonna say like if Housebets lose to a Mind Freak with a sub, like it's just embarrassing. They should be beating us every time. The fact that we got a map was crazy, to be honest.
So what are you looking at like in the future for like esports in particular? Like, you just got to roam around teams and whatnot, just hoping to get back in, because of course back on Archon you fragged out. Like True Rippers, you also did pretty good there. Like, where do you think you're gonna like end up? Like, what are you trying to look for at the moment?
I'm not doing anything crazy. Like, just got DFRAG coming up. I'm just taking it day by day. Focusing up for that because that's like requal DFRAG. It's gonna be big. That'll be really fun to go to that LAN. And then we have some China event coming up. Like, it's like Asian Championship, something like that, dude. I don't know the name. It's funky. There's some China event that we've like qualified to the qualifier for. I hope I can say that, but yeah. I don't know if that's like private information. My apologies.
Oh, if I just say, you say you got an event in China you guys are going to, don't have to give a name, something like that.
There's some event that we've got an invite to, so it's just focusing on those, and then like normie stuff. Like going back to uni, I start uni in like weeks.
Given your adventure, like you started uni, then you went to fucking America and whatnot. How far for your uni degree are you, or did you just quit and do another degree at this stage?
Basically every time. So I started like out of high school, I applied. I got into do like a business degree. I deferred to go to Europe, right?
Yep.
Deferred for a year. Came back. I did 3 weeks of university, and then I went to America. And I come back. I do my semester at Maryville.
Yeah.
That was for a different degree as well. And so I'm doing like economics, philosophy, and politics now, and it's just like a completely separate degree. And luckily I can I've made sure that I can do it all online, so like it makes traveling to events much easier. It makes like schedule, because like the fucking campus is like a 2-hour train ride, and that's going to cause a lot of problems if I'm like late to practice or like that. So I've still got that as my priority for making sure I'm there for the boys.
Yeah, you got that. Have you done your first year of uni yet? Because you make it
No,
seem like it hasn't. Yeah.
No, I haven't. I actually haven't. Like, it's crazy. I just been traveling. As soon as I started, I always just start traveling and going somewhere, and it's so fun though. I wouldn't change it for the world, but yeah. Probably what'll happen is if this is probably my like last year full time competing, unless like something crazy happens.
Yeah.
Which funnily enough is always what happens. Like every time, same in Valorant, right? I said to I was like, what, 19 at the time. It's like, look, I'm just gonna take this year seriously, and if I don't have anything happen, I'll just like quit and go back to uni.
Yeah.
And then, as I was getting ready to quit, I went to America. So
yeah, it's like this is you basically. It's I got to quit this time, go back to uni, go to skyscanner.com, find the next flight out, go join esports team.
Yeah, basically, actually, yeah, it's pretty much like that. And so it's been very very chaotic because like I did the math on it recently, and like I've spent more time. Yep. Since I turned 18, I've spent more time overseas than like in my home country.
Yeah.
Just like for different jobs and traveling for fun and shit like that. So I've been very lucky with that because yeah, like I yeah, not many people would have had that opportunity. So I'm very blessed.
Yeah. What sort of like work do you do in particular? Is like odd jobs or is like you got a career path?
All the money that I've made, I've just either put aside from like gaming, like streaming, shit like that. Like I've never worked a normal job at all, ever. All the money that I'm like very lucky, but everything that I've done has been through this.
Okay, so it's basically from gaming, you put it aside like in a savings account or whatever, and that's what you just go on, basically. I can hear like monitor in the background just making sure you can't leave Australia at the moment. Okay, it's like geo blocked Skyscanner out, a Webjet, they're all gone. You can't search for flights anymore.
Yeah.
It just comes up with a pinboard sign, you're here forever.
Yeah, it's just the only problem with Australia, man. It's just like there's so few events and like it's so hard to book scrims and like do anything. Like I actually am so fucking bored that I'm gonna just go get a normal job just to pass the fucking time. Like, dude, you can't even play Face It. Like after like midnight, the Face It queues just die, and even then, the Face It that you play is like counterproductive. Like I actually feel like I'm just wasting time playing like in Australia. Like so, I yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go do something
I say
to pass the time.
I say Monitor's name. He comes in the chat now. I say he's got a geo block, all the flight sites, so Crunchy can't possibly leave, and he's already here, and he's hearing the advice already.
Yeah, he's on it. Don't worry about it.
Yep. Next up, we're going to talk about the first event because we're going to talk about some stuff as well because this conversation's been for an hour and a bit, which, damn, like you've done a lot.
Jesus Christ.
Like you've done a lot. That's why I was asking.
Long day, dude.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Katowice, okay? So we're going to talk about just the playoffs tournament, okay? And talking about visa issues, Virtus Pro were very confident that they were going to not make the playoffs because Flamus couldn't play.
Yeah. That's so rough, man. It's like they had a pretty good run in the
and not to mention Flamus is like their excitement piece. Like he just loves fucking everything, man.
Dude, he is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like I watched a couple, like when he was first breaking out in Game of Legion.
Yeah.
I remember I just randomly was watching like a live game. They were versus Vitality, and he was fucking on Vitality and Connector on Anubis. I was so surprised. So I watched some of his like demos. He's a very fun player to watch.
Oh yes, definitely.
Makes sense for a while.
And also he was on the Amiga for a bit as well. I was watching him on there, and I'm like, he was just shitting on everyone in the Amiga as well. And I'm like, when he got put to Game of Legion, I'm like, fucking Ash would do that, wouldn't he? He would fucking do that because he is a very good player.
Yeah. I never like watched much like tier 2 Europe because I just don't have much time, especially when I was in True Rippers. Just be like, you'd watch the VODs of the top teams. That's you only have so much time in the day, but yeah, like watching him in Game of Legion, it was inevitable that he'd get the call up to either like
Spirit of Virtus
or a Spirit. Yeah, that was the other one. But I think he has like a big role clash on Spirit, so that's out of the question unless he goes like color. But
I guess overall, like you had Eternal Fire once again doing the good old we'll make playoffs and then go get 2-0'd by Mongos. But the interesting one was Team Spirit. Team Spirit actually lost a BO3 to Na'Vi, so they'll have to play the quarterfinals, which was the interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, that it's just like an upset. Like I wouldn't look too much into it because they were both like auto qualified at that point. Right?
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just
that's
more of,
correct.
like to see if you start quarters or the semis, and
Actually, no, they
for those kind
weren't.
of
No, they
games,
weren't. Spirit had to play through the lower bracket. They beat Gamer Legion 2-1.
fuck. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, I don't know because I thought they were both auto qualified.
Yep. That was Navi and
Yeah.
Mongos that auto qualified in that group.
Okay. Wait. So did Navi came like top 4 though, right? Like overall.
Yep, because they beat Mongos 2-0.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
But I feel so bad, like, because I watched most of the grand final, and I felt so bad for Donk, dude, because like that has to be his like worst performance, right? Or like one of it, aside from like ESWC.
Yeah.
Like it's so rare that he has like a bad game, and I feel like a lot of it wasn't even him playing badly, like he wasn't like whiffing that much. It was just like Vitality's game plan for him to like shut him down. I mean, I heard some people because I didn't watch the Navi Spirit game.
Yep.
Group stage, but I heard some people were saying that again, that was how they're able to get the W there was just teams are starting to get good at like stopping Donk and shutting him down. He's such a problematic player if they can't.
Yeah, of course. Like, entry play. If the entry player's getting 3 kills and entries, like, and it's a consistent basis, it's just curtains. Like, you just have no chance. Also,
it's just that no one else can do what Donk does.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't let Helix hear that, but no one other than Donk can do that.
Oh, of course. Like, I've never seen an entry since probably Olafmeister where they can get 1 or 2 frags every entry and like pretty much put the other team in a 5v3 situation. And also, not to mention during the grand final as well, that Shiro and Zontix were fucking shut down as well. Like, Shiro wasn't clutching at all. Like, even though Shiro's like ice veins, man.
Yeah, I mean, Shiro just had a burger performance as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, Rob's, to be fair, like Rob's had like a 2.13 on Dust 2, I think it was. Whatever the first map was, he had just like absolutely god tier. And I mean, what can you really do when someone's dropping a 2+ rating on you?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was really a letdown of the grand final. Like, it didn't seem like Spirit were really trying to fight against it. It was like, eventuality winners, Vitality going to win it, which completely shocked me because I thought Spirit would have that in the bag because like you got Donk, you got Shiro, you got Zontix. You also had Magix as well, show his stuff in the major as well, and he had a pretty good rating here as well for Magix, but obviously with no one else really coming up to the play, it was pretty hard to just get it over the line. I thought Spirit were looking like a more complete team because their role player that everyone's been screaming to the rooftops to kick, and I've been being like, no, Magix is actually fucking good. He's starting to come really, really good, and I was just really shocked by this, that Vitality 3-0'd them, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes to show though how important it is to have like good team environment because like, it was said, I think in interviews and stuff from Apex that said they didn't feel like a team for however long, like it was like 6 months, and Rob's coming in, like it fixes the kind of attitude and team cohesion problem, and they looked so good, dude. Like I'm curious to see it. It's also kind of weird to look at because it's like first event after player break, right? So it's the first like real event, right? Because I don't know if Blast Bounty like really counted as like a proper event. It was more to like test everyone's lineups and shit like that.
I guess Blast Bounty is another one where you just like you can really just test your metal against top teams. Like you could be like, fuck, we want to just take out Spirit. Let's see how we go against Spirit, and that's it.
Yeah. It was more of just everyone's kind of saying how the new it's like the first look for the new rosters, right? And yeah, like this is like the first actual event. It hasn't been that long since Prelude.
Yeah, you know what I rate? The skits on IEM, okay? The Vitality skit with Robs was really fucking good, okay?
Dude, the only one that I saw was the Elige one. It was like from was that this IEM or was that a previous one? He did the Blade Runner, like fucking.
Oh no, that was the June one. You're talking about June 2?
No, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, yeah, it was Blade Runner. Sorry, that one. Yeah. I'm trying to think if the Blade Runner was this one or not.
That was just because that's like the only one I've seen recently. Because I usually will either just watch the game and that's it, or I'll like go back and watch the VOD. Like I don't like follow it.
Yeah, the Rops skit was that no one was locked in on Vitality, and he was like, going to his new team, and then like no one was locked in. Like Mezzy was having beans and toast because he's English, and then like he spilt his beans and toast, ate it, and put his fingers on the keyboard, and They had Flamesy just doing this to the camera, like putting the rude fingers up. And someone actually used that for an article for him being BM when he was actually just posing for the camera. And
Unreal, man.
Apex and XQTZ were just like giving massages and whatnot, because he actually does give really good massages. If you ever seen them during the breaks of Vitality, like or pretty much he gives his players like pretty good massages. And they had Zywoo, and Robs was like, at least Zywoo's locked in, and Zywoo's playing RuneScape.
Insane.
You know what the funny thing that they would have done? The funny one would have been if he was playing Minecraft, because Rops's second game is playing Minecraft.
Sick, of course.
Yep.
Of course. Probably like grinding movement in that as well.
Yep.
Do you remember the old one they did with? It was like Case Rider's contract jail. Do you remember that?
Yep. Yeah. Describe that to me and the viewers.
Was, like, one of my favorite. Dude, I've got such a hazy memory for it, but it was basically like they were setting up an operation to like get Case Rider out. They had like Blame F in the.
Yeah.
Sorry, they had someone stand in for Blame F and like pretend to be him. They had Nico in the. I think they even had Fallen as well. Like, my memory's hazy because it was fucking ages. But I that was like the one skit that I saw, which is like, this is incredible.
And good. And instead, they all joined him in the jail now because now on Furia.
Yeah. Dude, imagine how insane it would have been if Case Rider actually did join Liquid and he like put them down. It's so good.
It would be insane. The funny part about the Vitality skit as well, it zoned out to Rops looking at Nico on the other side, because obviously Nico's in the same fucking situation.
Yeah.
Now, overall about that, I was just really shocked that Vitality won in this fashion that they did, and I was expecting Spirit to win like 80% of the tournaments, because I'm like, who's going to beat them? Like, half the rosters just shot themselves in the foot during Roster Mania. Like, they just shifted their entire teams. It's just like, why are you guys doing this? And
yeah, I mean,
yep.
I feel like with that though, a lot of these teams have made changes, so their positions have changed, their structure has changed, their game plan. Like, there's not as much footage to go over if you're studying Vitality, because like Robson and Sphinx are quite different players, like in how they approach, especially T side.
Yeah.
So I feel like for a lot of these rosters, previous footage is kind of made almost irrelevant in a way. Whereas teams like Spirit that haven't changed, like, you can still go back and look at their major, and it's gonna be similar. Like, they probably will have changed some things, but like the broad strokes are quite similar. Whereas with teams that are slotting in a new player, not the case at all. Like take FaZe for instance. Like, Elige and Robs play so differently. Those VODs are almost useless now.
Yeah.
Unless you're like specifically looking at like how Brokey ops or something like that.
Or like how Liege plays, basically, how you think he may play Andy Carrigan, basically.
Yeah. A lot of it is like it's become. It will be much harder for teams to VOD review the fresh rosters. Like, there's not as much footage to go off. Whereas teams that didn't change, like Spirit, it'll be easier to anti-strat them and to prep for them.
What were any teams that really surprised you during Katowice? I've got two in mind. Game of Legion getting as far as they did and taking a map of Spirit. And secondly, 3D Max changing Jocko for body after the tournament. Those are the two things that surprised me the most.
For me, I would say Game of Legion for sure, because that's like almost a complete rebuild. And I didn't expect Vitality to click as well as they did, as fast as they did.
Yeah.
I expected that to be like a few events wind-up time, like maybe by the third or fourth event, then we'd be seeing them hit the form and like click. But dude, it seemed like straight away in Katowice they were incredible. Like, they're a little bit, from what I remember, they were like a little bit sus at Blast Bounty. Like, they weren't quite good as they are now. But dude, they look so good.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only map they dropped was to FaZe. That was the only map they dropped the entire single tournament.
Yeah, and did they almost like FaZe almost won that as well? Like that overall game, like when did they have like a lead on the last map or something like that?
Triple OT, yes, they did.
There you go.
Yep.
But, yeah, no, it's incredible to see them click the way they did as quickly as they did.
And
for dude, someone needs to get Ash like a better team, man. Like,
yeah.
This guy, like 3 rebuilds, this cunt has managed to build incredible teams.
Yeah, definitely. And also, not to mention as well, like, he's got so much out of res. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude. I remember watching, it was like hot take point made or
Yeah.
like snake and bend. There was hot take point made, and Maui was making a point that like res for rain or something on those lines,
Yeah.
right? And Kassad went off, but not too happy about it.
Yeah.
But dude, it just goes to show, I think, that like NIP is not like a good
It's cursed
indicator of your skill, right? Like so many play like Alexi B sucked in NIP.
Yeah.
Rez fucking sucked in NIP. It wasn't I can't remember how good Device was, but it was a disaster when he was there. You know,
Esatag,
like all these players.
Wrinkle.
Who's the IGL? What's the ZTR?
Yep.
He was on NIP as well.
Yep. He was.
All of it doesn't matter. Like that, something about that org is just fucked. Like so.
Yeah,
fucked.
it is just so cursed. Like, you know, you had ZTR. He did actually relatively well in his first few games, and they dropped him as IGL. It's just like, bro, like, this is so rough. And then Ash picks him up, and ZTR can make teams out of nowhere, man. Like, you know, Ash and ZTR just on the same page. Also, I love the horror movie vibe that all their teams have. You know, you got Resident Evil 0. See, that's what it stands for. Then you got Slender Man, Slend. Then you got ZTR, 0 T rounds. That's scary in itself, like, you know, on Anubis.
Yeah.
And they got outdone. Yeah. They got outdone by the ultimate horror movie, Donk, The Possession of Donk, the ESL skit, where he's like,
dude, the fact that they even got a map though, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I thought it would just be like quick 2-0, like easy dispatching, but the fact they even got a map against like, you know, major champions, insane. Like I don't know, like how, like where did PR come from? Like I don't remember seeing this cunt's name ever. Like in any good teams, like it seems like he's just been picked out of, you know, the face at servers, and he's just insane. The faith to like bring back Rez as well is crazy. Like he's been playing so well.
I was taking a look at Rich Cord. They had mentioned PR a few times, not too much though. They're all lovely in Kyosuke, or whatever his name is. Like, you know, of course, the Spirit Academy player. Like he's definitely one on the rise as well. Like, you know, obviously nothing bad to him. He's great. But you're talking about that Jota as well for Eternal Fire. Like, you know, to be fair, that's just natural for me because he was so good in Sungal. But, you know, paired with Cadia and Xantares, I had him in my HLTV fantasy team, and he got me so many fucking points. And I was just sitting there going, like, he's going to every HLTV fantasy team ever for me, okay?
Yeah, he's a beast. And it's just, like, the clearest upgrade ever. Like, Calyx was kind of struggling for a little bit. And Jota is just, dude, this guy's nuts. Like, I remember seeing some clips of like Simple losing it with him. It's like saying, you know, like he'd like shit on Simple and on like his stream, and he'd just be like very, very annoyed by it. And obviously he was fragging out on Sungal. It's the easiest upgrade ever, and immediately they look better. Like they had that second place. Bounty, they placed second out.
Yeah, they did.
They have a curse second place, by the way. Like, have you looked at how many tournaments they placed second out? It's crazy.
Yeah, I guess they have Eternal Fire overall. Like, they can, like, it's just like, they just can't cut it in playoffs. Like, that's the hard part from them. They just can't cut it. They get through the group stages with relative ease, and they look incredibly promising. But they get to playoffs, and it's like 50-50 whether they can make it to semifinals or not, or they'll just bow out altogether. Because I think they got absolutely, they got, their composure broken on Mirage second map to lose 2-0 to Mongos.
Yeah, it's just a bit disappointing, I guess, because I was hoping that they could like keep up their run from the past couple months, because they've been looking pretty fun.
Yeah, but overall, I think that's pretty much just talk about IEM Katowice. Like Virtus Pro could have gone further with Flamus. You reckon they could have got past Team Spirit, or do you think 2-0 would have been the same deal? I
think they would have gotten a map. I would have hoped for a map, but yeah, I don't think they're beating Team Spirit. Like even if they had the full roster, it's just disappointing that it's just a disappointing situation, because I would have at least liked to see,
you know, that lineup going up against tier 1 teams, because I think the only tier 1 team they versed in that entire run was Vitality. And no, actually, they beat G2 too. They beat G2, but G2, I've got to say,
G2 kind of suck there.
Yeah, they're not that great anymore.
Yeah. So shit.
Dude, you're a Snacks hater. Come on, I'm an XVP fanboy, mate.
I'm a Snacks hater. Like this guy is just a burger.
Is it because Taz takes the coaching jobs because he's bold, and they were like looking for a bold coach, and Taz came in? And...
yeah, maybe. I don't know if anything could save them at this point. Like I don't know. I don't even know how he got the job. Like unless it's through Taz.
Mm.
It's like
I know
if they
a
don't
Danish IGL that could save them.
dude, just get Shuey. Simple.
Polish? No, we're talking about our boy Rasmus. What are you talking about?
No, never Huxley, never. I actually think like Shuey would just fix that team. It would
Yeah,
just make it so
100%.
much.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like, sure, we probably fix that team. Like, it's the obvious option. It's going to be a weird rebuild, but you kind of have to make that rebuild now because you can tell that Nico was the second voice in that team and have not actually replaced the second voice in that team. And it's like, just get an actual IGL, get rid of snacks, and you got to find a second voice very quickly in that team.
Yeah, because like mid rounds is the most important part. Like anyone can just have a strat book and call like start round strats, but like from it looked like Nico was doing so much of the heavy lifting in the mid round that's like use that to basically lose your IGL. Like
we could talk about Mouse as well, and I'm just going to say Mouse just ends themselves. Okay, in fact, Jim Fat's involved, so they've literally just ends themselves again.
That poor guy, man. Yeah,
because Sergey ensed obviously the infamous what was it? Fuck, I forget his name now. Oh, Sunny for Alex CB. Now it's Shui for Spinks, and I'm just like, yeah, that just ends themselves. Mouse is basically ends 2.0.
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever get the story until Shui goes to like another team, right? Because they would troll themselves if they said what the problem was. But right now, because like obviously they won't be able to find a buyer for him because he's probably got like a pretty hefty contract on him. It's just kind of disappointing because they were looking so good, and then Brolin has just like fucked his career. Because here's the thing, like that team isn't gonna last as they are. Like they're gonna get another IGL, and it's gonna be Brolin that goes.
Yep,
because like can't replace Torji. There's no AWP IGLs, right?
Yep.
Like
it just doesn't. It's just Lecro and NRP scenario all over again. Like, you know, Lecro volunteers to be IGL. They just replace him with another IGL. That's pretty much it. So
he's just fucked his career. Yeah. So I just hope you like kind of bounce back in the future. You know, it's all fine eventually. But yeah, this is like gonna suck for however long they have this roster for. I don't think they'll make a top 4. I don't even think they'll make a top 8, top 4.
Dude, they didn't even fucking get out of groups. They didn't even win a series. They didn't even win a map. They got 2-0'd by Liquid, 2-0'd by Game of Legion. Like, the fuck, man?
Yeah. And like before that, they were like so good, man. They were consistently making like top 4s, doing really well, top 8s. I don't think they'll make top 8 or a playoffs or anything until they fix this fucking roster. It's a disaster.
Yeah, like I said, they could like seriously lose some serious invite power as well, because that VRS point, you know, they got previously, they could be decaying really quickly, and they could find themselves out in fucking outer quicker, like really quickly.
Yeah, and like end up in like an NIP situation, which would be horrific. You know, like if they keep losing 0-2 every tournament, just getting knocked out in groups, they're just gonna lose it all.
Now,
they're gonna be in qualifier hell.
Pretty much, and also tier 2 hell, where you're basically, you know, hoping that a VRS team comes in so you can just get your scrap of meat, basically, and just hope it gets you into a tournament.
Yeah, that's not an enviable situation for sure.
Yep. We'll go to the next topic because it's obviously a bit closer to home. So Australia, okay, this is the most randomest part ever because everyone was thinking this block of time between, you know, obviously IEM Katowice to back when ECL gets enforced, that there'll be nothing on. And we have the European Pro League announce a tournament, according to my inside sources, i.e. Foggers, like 5 days before, like anything, they get an invite to this league and then they're playing a tournament afterwards. And then we have Blast Rising Asia as well, where a couple of teams, including your DXA, gets an invite. And, you know, what are your thoughts about these two tournaments in particular, especially with the BO3 format? Like, this is going to help Australia quite a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the tournaments are on, but dude, the way these invites work are ridiculous. Like, we got told about the Blast tournament, like, we got invited, like, I think it was, like, less than 48 hours before the tournament was on.
Okay.
And for the EPL one, from what I recall... I
was about to say, like, EPL's was 5 days, that's pretty bad, but now you made it worse with the 2 days.
Yeah, so for EPL, we were invited, right?
Yeah.
And then when we had accept, like, I think we waited a day just to make sure that everyone was available and whatnot. We went to accept the invite, they had like rescinded it because someone, like, from what I understand, they gave out the invite to a bunch of people and it was like first come, first served.
Yep. Oh, jeez.
So it's just, I just want some like consistency with these tournaments, really. Like, I don't mind if it's like short notice, but I don't want to be like,
Yeah.
fighting people. People take time off work or time off school,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they just get like cancelled on like the next day. It's a little bit
Yeah, because
ridiculous. But I'm glad these tournaments are on.
I did mention,
Especially, sorry, you go.
I did mention, like, a state mentioned that as well. Like, he had the availability issue as well. That's why they put out Blast, because like if it's at 12 o'clock, he can't play. Like, sorry, not 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, he can't play. Yeah.
For sure. And I think the Blast one though is really good, because if more tournaments do the whole Guam server stuff, then it just gives us opportunities to like have scrim groups in Asia. If that becomes like the norm server in Asia for everyone to play on, we can regularly scrim Asian teams. And we can play in these Asian events, because before it would be like Singapore, and if you're not from Singapore or like not
WA.
on that region, yeah, then you can't play. Like they'll like kick you out if you play. So if we can do that, like Australia can play so many more events too, because there are a lot of events that are on in Asia that we don't have access to because of like server problems, and like as well the Chinese teams don't have access to them, the Mongolian teams don't have access.
Yeah.
Because the fucking server ping problems. But this kind of like fixes it for everyone, and like sure, 90 ping kind of sucks, but it's better to have that kind of problem than not play at all. And like if you just grind SEA servers for like a week, you'll get used to it to the point where like it doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah, so it's like basically
I think that's why I was able to like, because I played decent versus Rooster. I think the only reason I was able to do that was just because I had played so much on high ping on like SEA servers. Like I would just play a fuck ton of 100 ping face it with like the Asian lads.
Yeah. Also with EPL at the moment, obviously Mindfreak plays third, which you played in particular. Anything that you noticed that was like, like anything that really surprised you about how like the standings have been at the moment in particular?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, I haven't been following it as closely, to be honest, because I've had a lot of stuff going on in the background and like trying to do some things. But it's good to see Housebets getting their form back from before. I think Simplify is kind of surprising, because when I first was taking notice of them, they had some kind of like sus results where they didn't look as good as I expected them to. With like the name value on the roster, but now they're kind of just like shitting on everyone.
Yeah, I guess they overall Simplify. Yep.
They won this like APL event, I think, right?
No,
they
yeah.
placed top 2. We're not top 2.
Grand finals tomorrow.
Okay, well, yeah, the top 2, like it's looking good for them, like much better than before. So yeah, I don't think there's any like crazy upsets. I haven't been paying that like that much. Like there's some upsets in like ECL and shit. Like that's it. But that always seems to happen.
Like a lot of people, like I know a lot of bettors complain about the Rooster one. Someone even said like Rooster fixed the match, and I'm like, bro, Rooster had played 6 hours of 2 BO3s, mate. Like they had played against obviously in the Asia one, they played against Just Swing, beat them. They had to play against Simplify, beat them as well. And then they lost to House Bets in the third BO3. It was like all those BO3s before that were long and grueling, all 2-1s to Rooster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if Rooster loses, I'm not gonna blame them. They're playing 3 BO3s in a day, and they've played 6 hours of it already. And Housebet's like fresh off the boat, ready to go. Like,
exactly, yeah. Like, dude, BO3s, especially if they're long, are like so taxing, dude. Yeah. They like to play 3 BO3s in a day, like maximum, like you're fucked by the end of the day. Dude.
Yeah,
it's so hard to like stay focused for that, especially that. If it goes 3 maps every single series, so hard.
And they lost a lot of like advantageous round. They're like 8-4 up on Dust 2. They were like 10-5 up on Nuke at one stage, and it's just fatigue. Like just creeps in. Like you have that little jolt at the start, and then the later half is just like they just dropped the leads, and I was like going like I'm giving it to Rooster. Like, hey, you made that BO3 competitive. Given how fucking tired everyone probably fucking was.
Yeah, I mean, if you run that game 100 times, like Rooster will probably win like 95 out of 100 times.
Yeah.
Only I think they're just so far ahead right now.
Mm-hmm.
They look so good. And I didn't see how they played in the Simplify game in the Blast event, but
yeah,
they just like look at the stat sheet, like they just look like they were bullying everyone. You know, it didn't look very close.
Yeah, like that. They had a killer T side on Nuke. Like I think 6 rounds T side. They only played 8 rounds because they won 13-7. But they just seemed all in control against Simplify on that one, and Simplify just couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Did Simplify have a boot camp recently? They did.
Yeah, they did.
Because they did pretty well at Extremes Land, right? It was Extremes Land.
Yeah, they made playoffs at Extremes Land. Yep, and then I'm trying to remember who they got basically bounced out by, but it's just like Simplify weren't winning that matchup.
Yeah, they did have some good results. I think it was like they beat the Huns. Or was it Chinggis? It was one of the Mongolian teams they beat, which was surprising.
It was Chinggis. It was a BO3 and OT, and they like survived an OT as well, like an OT that they really shouldn't have been in. Like they got 2 rounds. Yeah.
That Chinggis team is really good. I did not expect them to win that going in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, not Chinggis. It was XO that one.
No, as in like them to beat Chinggis.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say like Chinggis won. That's what XO did. Like that Saudi team. Yep.
Yeah, that was a crazy result for them. But the worst part is they get no VRS points from that tournament.
Yeah, because it was unranked. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was sick to see more teams having good results overseas, because typically I feel like when we go to Asia, kind of get upset by teams like I don't remember if they were house bets or if they were Vertex or like Bad News Kangaroos, but like that core of the roster lost. Like they got like farmed by God's Reign. Like we kind of, I feel like we kind of suck a little bit when we go to Asia.
Was that XC Pro League?
I can't remember.
Because they went there as bad news Kangaroos. So
yeah, it might have been that one then.
Yeah.
But when we do go to Asia, it seems like we're a little bit sus sometimes. Like we don't. Like maybe it's like the jet lag or like the difference in style, but I'm just hoping that more events like these Guam events will help in future to like have us go further. Like I think with a few more events like this, you know, people get more of a feel, because I don't know how much the top teams like Brewster and Simplify crack Asia.
I know FlyQuest did. I know FlyQuest did, because there was a lot of scrims for it as well. Like after their games, they would go scrim in Asia. Because I was always trying to get them on for interviews, and then someone told me, they go for scrims after it. Like they don't have time for you, basically. But that wasn't from FlyQuest officially. That was from people like to see FlyQuest scrims. Like,
yeah.
And I know DXA do it.
Outside of that, we haven't done that. Maybe like the old DXA.
The old DXA Rossi, of course. Like Monetire's got like links with the people who've got the Guam servers. He's got his own Guam server. I know you're listening, Mon.
Yeah. Yeah, like being in those prac groups, I hope more people, like, because when I'm in that prac group, or like when we were in it in Sherpas, everyone would only play like Hong Kong. Like people wouldn't really want to play Singapore servers, and like if you had a trial on Hong Kong, sucks, dude, or like to scrim on it sucks. You're at like 135 ping, it's just not worth it. Like I've trialed 2 teams on that ping, and I just wanted to like shoot myself with it. It's so bad. And so I think if we move to Guam servers as the standard, it opens up those options, because even I noticed like people get better ping on Guam than they do in Singapore.
Yeah, that's
people
interesting.
Tend to get because I've seen, I think it's just routing's been a bit like scuffed recently.
Okay.
I'll see like when teams play, like when the Aussies play like Singapore, because we scrimmed one of the Oz teams there. Like everyone had like 120, 130 ping for some reason. But everyone on Guam seems to have like the high. If you're like Perth, it's Fox. Like you're at like 120 if you're Perth, but everywhere else is like 70 to 90.
Talking about Guam overall, we had that for obviously the Blast Asia event in particular. I was a bit disappointed for myself. Was that the first 4 eliminated teams were all Australian teams, with Housebets, Mindfreak, Art of War, and DXA, of course. I wasn't too shocked about house bets, because I'm just like, you versus GJ Howell, who were in the fucking major, and then you versus Dog Evil, who were in Extremes Land. Like, you expect to win any of those games? Not like, in in the immortal words of Chappelle Roan, good luck, babe. Okay, like you're fucking going home. Bit surprised about Mind Freak. Like they dropped the series 2-0 to Believe.
I don't know who that team is. I think.
Yep.
I was looking at it before. I'm pretty sure that like they were part of Cat Evil. Like they had some of the players from Cat Evil before.
Yep.
That team is like insane. Like I just don't think they play many events on HLTV, but we've scrimmed that team a bunch of times when I was in Troopers, and we'd get like one round. Like, they were just 22 to us, 23 won us. It was disgusting. So I think if that is the team I'm thinking of, then I'm not that surprised. Having played them a few times. But yeah, it is kind of depressing to see that result. Like to see all the other teams kind of suck, but you know, Art of Wars using subs. There are all these kind of like people in different countries right now. It's like end of the player break. People just need more time, more events like this, more experience against these kind of teams, and I think that won't happen much in the future because even with the team that was in our group, that Just Wing team, like I think if you play all of our top teams against them, like our top 5 teams against them, all of our top 5 teams would beat them. You know? And same for like some of the other teams that are like getting upsets.
Because you had Semper Fi beat them, you had Rooster beat them. If that's the case, you have Talon beat them. FlyQuest will definitely beat them. So you know, I definitely agree with that as well. And you know, I was really happy to see, you know, when Rooster won that 2-1 series against them, clinching that final round 13-11. I was just like, finally, we're gonna have an Australian team, you know, in the actual event. And they had a hard-fought match against Semper Fi to make it. And I'm gonna say they versed Atox in their first round. And I think overall, Rooster put a decent effort. Like, I expected Atox to 2-0 them, to be honest.
Atox are good, dude. They're really good.
And the fact that Rooster got, you know, that overtime win, that was a very difficult overtime to watch because they were trying to really just eke it out. And they had a perfect CT side, and I'm just like, just take one of these rounds on T side, and that's it. And yeah, they also let a few slip as well during the regulation as well, but I'm happy they got it done in the end. But yeah, the Inferno was forgettable, and the Dust 2 was similar as well.
Yeah, one thing I noticed like playing these teams was they're very aggressive and they love to just fight you. And I feel like when you're not as comfortable in playing with these ping conditions, it can be really punishing at the start. So I am curious to see if that changes over time, where people get more used to playing these events. They get to understand like how the micro details of how you have to approach things in the future. Hopefully that gets fixed, and because I feel on LAN, Russo could beat them on LAN.
Yeah.
I would probably favor them to beat them on LAN.
Because you got ASAP on a decent ping. Like you saw when they put I think the servers they were playing on was Singapore, and you see ASAP was just top everywhere.
Yeah, I mean ASAP. I think he got when we scrimmed them. Not scrimmed them. When we played them, I think he had 130 ping or 125, and he's just like farming. Yeah, because they played. From what I understand, they played Guam every match that an Australian team played. Obviously, if they were two Chinese teams that just play China servers or whatever.
China they played Guam. Australia they played Guam. Atox they played Singapore because ASAP had 50 ping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
That's why Lee created so they would beat him on land because ASAP was just fragging everything on 50 ping.
He's fucking animal.
Yep. Like I've got him as probably being MVP of the season, like coming up for ECL because I reckon he's just gonna actually frag out. I've got the breakout player being DPR because DPR is a massive upgrade for Rooster.
Yeah, he's been a fucking animal. That guy, he's so sharp.
He also called me out for my lack of faith for them not being Atox, and I responded, "My lack of faith has been rewarded."
You always, like, even if they're gonna lose, you're always gonna back the boys. Come on, man.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I expected to be at 2-0, and I'm like, you guys got a map. I'm happy. I didn't expect you guys to get a map at all because Atox, like, you know, as I'm gonna just quote the Immortal Pimp, okay? You asked me to do a worse job if I'm gonna favor the boys, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's different if you're like an analyst on the desk, like stuff.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, okay? Like Atox finally realized it turns out that your original team was actually good, which is the Zesta, Accuracy, Mick, Cabal, Dobu lineup, okay? Before they fucking went off and got Annihilation, who quit mid-land.
Annihilation was an animal, dude. That guy was insane. Like, I've never versed an author like that. Like, I played against both the old and like the new roster.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I played some like fun kind of tournament when I was in India. It was like me, Daymake, and like 3 Russian guys, right? I think one of them was on like Spirit Academy or something like that.
Yeah.
We were playing kind of playing for funsies. We almost beat that team, like that new Atox roster. It was like 13-11 or something like that on Anubis. We were just like plugging for fun.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, I get like I just can't like he's got attitude problems, it feels like, because he quit on Atox mid fucking land, and Atox realized, well, it turns out let's get our old team together, because I have no idea why they benched Zesta in the first place. I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys are ruining the roster, mate. Like, stop. Don't Tyloo yourself.
Yeah, I guess. I just like part of me wish I could just work through those problems, because he was so talented, man. So fucking talented.
Like I agree as well. Like, this is what I talk about the Mongolian scene. Like, everyone's being like, Mongols are gonna bring the scene back and whatnot. And I'm like, bro, did you see their fucking roster mania? Like, fucking entire teams changed. And like, you have Annihilation quitting mid land, and you have people like, you know, trying to ego each other from the Huns and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, like, their tier 2 scene, the entire Mongos is built on a house of fucking cards. Like, if that team collapses, they have nothing there. Like, there's nothing saving them. There's no second team.
Yeah.
So it was good that Atox got their roster back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is there's a lot of like talent coming up. Like, there's like even the lower like level teams like Aravet and Eruption, dude, those guys are nuts.
Yeah.
And I think like they're also like just really nice blokes, like good scrim partners as well. So sharp though. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them like moving up to like your Huns or your Chinggis Warriors or your Atoxes.
I think Eruption, that roster, like their previous roster, was Atox's roster.
Some of the players, yeah. They've changed their roster a few times.
Yeah, because I think it was like Mick and Zesta came from that roster. I'm not sure if Accuracy did, but I know obviously Dobu and Cabal did not, because Dobu and Cabal obviously been veterans in that Mongolian scene for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yep. But like, yeah, you're right. Like, you know, these guys will be picked up by, you know, your Chinggis, or even have their own team in particular as well. I just get worried about that, because when you see roster mania shit like that, where like the entire tier 2 team of Mongolia's change, and you hear like, because I've also got insiders as well in Mongolia telling me like, you know, players disagreeing with each other and whatnot and trying to ego each other. It's like, the Mongols up there didn't get up there because they egoed each other, okay? They got up there because they fixed their shit and started being composed or whatever it is. Like,
but they also made a lot of roster changes though.
Yeah, they did.
Like, they were chopping and changing.
They got rid of Score. They got rid of who else on that roster? Because they made crazy roster changes that just worked. Like, I was surprised it worked. So they got rid of Score, 9. I'm trying to figure out their third player they got rid of. Because they only kept 2, which is Techno and Blitz. Yeah. Because they added Mazzinio, 911. Oh, sorry, 910. Sorry, I can't forget that fucking Cadian skit. Well, they said they had to call 911. Yeah, but they got those 3 guys on the roster, and obviously they played amazing. And I'm just sitting there going, like, how can a team with Score... I'm trying to think of the other really good Mongolian player. I think it was Cabal, actually, or Dobu Cabal, one of those players. I'm like, how does that roster not make it to a major, you know, playoffs, but this other one, which is a bunch of young kids, basically make it? Like, I couldn't really put my head around it. And I'm just like, figured down to it. These kids have great composure and they relate well to Mara's coaching, obviously.
Yeah, coach and IGL is what I would put a lot of it down to as well. Plus, like, having really young players that are really dedicated. Because I've heard some things where, like, again, from the Mongolian scene, where people aren't, like, deady. You know, they're a bit flaky at times, or, you know, they let other things get in the way. Which, I mean, I guess happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, just having super dedicated, like, really young players with an excellent coach. It's like almost like a fucking mini Blade, you know, a Blade Alexi combo, you know, that kind of thing, but like for the Mongolian scene, right?
Yeah.
Those guys have both been around for ages.
Yeah. And also I got to say as well, you know, great to see, because I see some old guys as well, like News and Rue, you know, basically mentoring a lot. Yeah, News and Rue. I call him Rue, but it's probably Rux or something like that. It's a French name, like Rue. It's like Roux, it's good to see them mentoring players again. And yeah, I guess overall, in the end, I think it's... Although Atox are playing the Huns at the moment, they're 1-0 up. They won 13-3 on the first map. So that's a pretty dominant performance so far. Yeah, we haven't got our last representative yet for the Asia scene, but they beat Red Atom, and go say that's a big improvement for for Atox to beat a team that actually made it to the major.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the Huns beat Lin Vision as well, and Lin Vision obviously qualified for IEM Dallas.
Okay, that's a big upset because like I think of Huns is more of like in like the Asian scene, like they're more like tier 2 almost, like that kind of level where they're or like a gatekeeper to the tier 1.
Just an update, by the way. Atox have 2-0 Huns.
Beast, man.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm just going to say redeemed. I'm just going to say redeemed for the Atox roster because they should have never got rid of that roster. That's the roster that brought Greyhound to its almost fucking knees. Like, that's the one that took Greyhound to the fucking limits before, Lin Vision was just like, boop, free major spot.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just... It's just big results to beat Lin Vision, though. Like, Lin Vision are pretty fucking solid. And historically, I think Huns have been, like, a bit of a tier 2 team in that sense. In, like, that like kind of, like, gatekeepy almost. Yeah,
they're like the Chinggis Warriors as well.
Yeah, like a very similar team to that, where what would happen is, your Atoxes and your Mongols would take players from those teams. They would be like kind of the feeder teams. Yeah,
exactly. And that's my vibe of it as well. Like, Chinggis feeds to Atox and stuff like that. Now, the biggest disappointment this tournament was Tyloo, and Tyloo also got knocked out by Dallas at 4th place after getting an invite to close qualifier. And they didn't win a single map. They got 2-0 by Radam, Kaze's revenge again. But,
There we go, dude.
Yep. I gotta check if Kaze played well in his matches because I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Like, Kaze would be top fragger. No, he wasn't. Li Hang was top fragger, but Kaze was fucking close, okay? Kaze was close.
Expect nothing less. He's so good.
Yep. I was gonna say Tyloo.
What even is Tyloo's roster? Because like didn't they have like a player like Lee? It was like Jam Young like left for Valorant or something.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the go with that?
Okay, so they lost Starry.
Who did they actually?
So Jam Young's back in the roster. Okay, Lin Vision bought Starry, so Starry's back in Lin Vision, and they have Jam Young, Mosier, Mercury, G, and Attacker. It didn't work well in Valorant for Jam Young, so he's back. And
so it's the same roster as like it was 3 months ago. Right?
Yeah, without Starry, and also Lin Vision. We also got a guy called Corby Sue, who used to play for someone in America, and they qualified for IEM Dallas, and that was the joke. Was that he didn't qualify in the NA teams for Dallas. Now he qualified for the Asia team for Dallas. So that's a bit of a meme. Because he played in America for a bit.
Did he play like in any good teams or?
I'm not sure actually. I have to ask Eminem's and the guys at NA about that. But I saw that tweet. I thought that was pretty funny. But overall, I always harp on about Tyloo or not. I'm a bit of a hater. To be fair, if anything spells like an Australis, I just hate them instantly. And Tyloo smells like an Australis. With what they did to Lin Vision both fucking times. Like, Lin Vision's the Chinese heroic because, if Tyloo sees Lin Vision having fun, bang, they take the best 2 players.
Yeah, they built that super team and then got knocked out of the major quals by both teams they stole players from, which is just so insane.
Yep.
But I do get that vibes a little bit, but I just want to see. They did have a run where they were like looking really good though, like they had some beasts. And I'm just curious to see if that was just like an outlier, like a brief like honeymoon type peak, or if they can like kind of overcome these struggles and get back to their winning ways.
I don't want them to overcome these struggles. I'm full hate mode, okay?
Dude, I hope they do. Like I don't want them to be like. Actually, yeah, fuck it. I want them to be the best Chinese team. They're like fun to watch. The few times that I've watched their games, they are really fun.
I guess overall, I like Jam Young. Jam Young's one of my favorite players because, like, you can't fuck around with him. Because if you fuck around, you find out that he's got your head on a pike in about 2 seconds. That's what my favorite. I just
like so many good players, so much history, and like so many good players have been on that roster, that org. Sorry, it's kind of like NIP or Fnatic. Like I have the same feeling where it just sucks seeing like Fnatic lose and not beat all these big events.
Yeah.
I guess they are more recently now, but like there was that period where they were just like nowhere. They were just garbage for ages, and it's good to kind of see them get that way.
I was going to say that like that now. They got rid of Nork, and I question this so heavily from Fnatic. Like, why? They're not going great. They got Belimov, whatever his name is, from Passion.
Oh, dude, that cunt is so bad, dude. Like I was watching. They played Train, and so I was watching a bunch of like Train games from like just recently, just to like brush up and see what people were doing. This cunt was missing everything. Dude. Like, I don't know what they saw in him, but he was just a burger. Like missing so many orb shots.
And
like,
you know,
he just was just a decoy.
and you know, Nork wouldn't fucking miss it. Like Nork would just like,
Of course,
yeah. But anyway,
like, Nork was alright. He was pretty good.
Finish off your thoughts about Nork because I wanted to go to a different topic.
Just like, yeah, I just wish he had more time. Like he's kind of got a little bit unlucky in his career. I feel like where he's kind of just been on the edge of like being in these tier 1 teams. It felt like this could be his opportunity to like go further than he's gone before, and it's just like he got replaced by a guy that's just so much worse than him.
Yep. I'm just gonna say overall, like, you know, I think if Game of Legion didn't have Slenders and Orpa, I reckon they would have approached Nork by now.
Probably, yeah.
Yep.
Most likely.
Yep. Now again, it's the next event, because are you going to be participating in this event? Obviously, it's going to be DFRAG Invitational.
Yeah. I mean, I'm playing the closed qualifier.
Yeah.
With the boys at DXA.
Yep, you got the closed qualifier, you got DXA on, ready to go. Now,
yep.
So basically, this is the big upset, is that the BBBC, whatever it is, team, like, someone told me what it stands for. Dirty America told me what it stood for. But I'm just going to call them the BBC, okay? Because I just see those 3 letters and that's it, okay? You're the British Broadcasting Company. Stick with it, okay? Yep. You got Simplify as well. So basically, the matchups is the BBC versus House Bets. So APOC done 2-0. And you got Vantage versus Mantra, KCG JFT, and you guys get to versus Keen.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm keen to versus Keen.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm excited.
They have Wombat and Craxy T, but you're going to probably be versing Vision and Savage, okay? Obviously, Wombat and Craxy T subbed in. But yeah, you're probably versing Savage and Vision. So obviously, 4 teams qualify, all BO3s. Who do you think the 4 teams are going to qualify, and why?
Us, Simplify, House Bats. Because we're the best. Really, that's all it is.
I guess overall, I can Simplify, KCG, Vantage, House Bets. So sorry, yeah,
Dude, where's the faith, man? What the fuck?
Foggers, man. I have to favor Foggers, okay?
Unbelievable. But it'll be fun though. Like we'll see. I'll just make sure someone clips this, all right? Because I'll come back to it when we qualify.
Yeah, you can clip it anytime, because you can just basically see, we qualified for the event, okay? Especially if you beat Foggers, okay? If you beat KCG to qualify the event, you can just be like, see, you should have tipped the other 3-letter team, which is DXA.
Look, if we do, all right? If we qualify and KCG doesn't, you have to buy me a beer at DFRAG, and if otherwise,
I can do that. Yeah, I'll be at the LAN. Okay, yeah, I'll be at the LAN. And you don't need to buy me beer. Just buy me a Coke Zero, because I don't drink.
Fair enough.
But anyway, I don't mind. But either way, like, you know, this is actually really, really good. I like the fact that we got a VRS event here, and that Bav and stuff like that put so much into it. It is going to be fucking amazing, because I'm obviously coming down to Brisbane as well. I got my accommodation, I got my flights, and also, is there any jokes I can make about Brisbane? Nah, I can't think of any jokes. It's like, you know, when you go to Victoria, like, you know, I've got my anti-hipster cream on, so they can't attack me and I get infected or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to Brisbane like once in my life. It just seems like it's a small city almost. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really have any opinions on it, but I'm just glad there's a big event though. Like, because I think it opens a lot of doors for Australia. I'm very excited.
Definitely, and it's the first VRS event as well. And obviously a lot of BO3 practice, because you got ECL and that's BO2. Okay, and I don't think that really
sucks, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is that the thing?
I don't know. I know a lot of the players had told ESCA, even FlyQuest as well. They're like, guys, can we change this to BO3? And dude, I'm all for it. I know they have to move the games an hour earlier, but I don't care. Like, if I miss a map or anything like that, I don't give a shit. Like, BO3 is going to be like a lot of stuff you're going to play. Like, you are going to, like I say, you want to qualify for international tournament. You are going to be playing a BO3.
Yeah.
Yep. Like,
it's also like easier for shit teams though, because from at least when I was playing, I don't know if it's still the same veto, but you basically do 2 best of 1 vetoes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Like, so you can always get the map that you're good on, right? You can't ever get punish picked in a best of 2.
Yeah.
You know, Whereas like in a proper best of 3, like if you're shit on some map and you have, like say you've got your permaban and then you kind of sus on one map, like another team can just punish pick you over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Whereas you will never have to play, like you can have such a smaller map pool in these shitty BO2 format. You can get away with it and you can still be good. And I think that's also what we did in Archon. Like we did not have a very deep map pool, but we were just good on a couple maps and we were able just like to abuse the veto system to just beat teams that were way better than us because we could, like they had a much deeper map pool and force them onto like a puggy map almost.
Yeah, like Inferno and Mirage.
Yeah, like a Mirage or an Ancient or something like
that. Yeah. That actually goes up to my next point as well, because obviously a lot of these games, especially in ECL, were VRS, and obviously a lot of people were having issues with VRS in particular, okay? The VRS system, okay, it's been a common thing. I'll read you some tweets about it, okay? This is from Mezzy, the biggest critic of VRS. Well, he's one of the biggest critics, but I've also one of the biggest fixers as well. This is after the Gamer Legion tournament, because Gamer Legion missed out on an invite because they were playing at the time that the VRS system updated, okay? So Furio got an invite over them. Yeah, even though Gamer Legion, if they finished the game quicker, they would have got the invite. Because what happened is that Furio got eliminated from the tournament early, they got their points. But Gamer Legion hadn't been eliminated from the tournament yet, so they didn't get any point updates and they missed an invite for it. And
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't get it. They like, if a tournament's going on and there are VRS points there that are going to impact like invites for another event, like can't they just wait a day? Like just delay it by a day, or delay it until the tournament actually ends before calculating it? Like if
the way the invites work is very strange. It's like there's no, like you have these problems, right, where first you can miss out like that. You have teams that are voluntarily pulling out of tournaments that don't lose VRS. They can get invited to the bigger events like that. Was it Furia Female or Imperial
Female? Yeah.
Yeah, like that is mental, dude. Actually insane. Then there was, I think it was with M80, right? Like they played an event with Keto standing in. Yeah. And didn't they have like a core problem as a result of him playing?
Yeah, they're considering a Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, which is just insane. Like there are so many problems with this system. I just don't think it was like thought through at all before they they just went ahead with it. Like I feel like, we should have had another 6 months testing this system to iron out the kinks of it, because right now if you're not like a top 10 team, dude, it sucks for you. And it's more, I've seen a lot of people argue that it's more closed off than it was before, because the entire point is to make it more open, to get rid of franchising systems and all these like kind of weird pseudo franchising that we had before, and these closed circuits. Now it's even worse, because like so many of these, like you have to kind of get lucky to verse the
VRS teams, because they'll protect their stuff.
Teams. Yeah, and there are all these events. Like, did you see how many events the NIP team was playing that weren't actually counted as VRS VRS like tournaments?
Yeah, because they got it cut halfway through, which was the another good play that was made was like, guys, can we like have a clear indication where we don't lose our VRS points halfway through? Like it doesn't get rated, it's gone. And I feel that's what's led to a lot of these closed system problems, is that none of the tier 2 teams or tier 2 tournaments are ranked. So like no one gets any points, and yet Imperial Females team doesn't get punished for leaving a tournament or not participating in a poor tournament, because if no one's getting any points, their decay really means nothing.
Yeah. I also, it's just like so tilting to have them like, they've just like got all these awesome narratives about like they're playing well, they're like getting rounds off good teams, like yippee women's CS and whatnot, and there's all these like positive narratives, and they just go turn around and like spit in everyone's face and just like turn down this event where you could prove like that could be the time that you take a map off of like a top team, or that could be the time where you get your first win. Yeah, and you're like throwing that away because you're scared you're gonna lose points.
Yeah, I tweeted about that. I tweeted about that because I'm just like, guys, you could have won points, like VRS points in that game. Okay, there's no reason to do that, okay? Like, when I look at FlyQuest, M80, and Complexity competing in ECL, I'm just like, yeah, they've got nothing to gain by going into ECL. Like, all their stuff is in Europe. Imperial Female, you had everything to go for in that game. Like, I think it was against Paravision, I believe. Was that the first game? It was against James' team? And it's like, you can get a decent amount of points off them.
Dude, they could beat Paravision, like surely. Like that's not a team that's like unbeatable. Like they've been
Yeah.
kind of sus. They're like a tier 2 European team, and even then, I don't know if they would be like considered like a top, like on the cusp of tier 1
Yeah.
team in Europe. Like I feel like out of any team that you're gonna beat at a big event, Paravision is gonna be like the team that you could beat.
I'd say
Especially because they also made roster changes.
I'd say as well, like, I think, like, once the tier 2 system gets kinks out, it does get VRS system qualified. I think a lot of these teams that are trying to save their points in the similar style of Imperial Female are going to get found out, and their decay is really going to impact their ability to get invited to tournaments. In fact, it already has, because Imperial's male team is now above them. And
thankfully, yeah, like that, there should be a punishment for that, dude. Honestly, like that's so like that actually aggravates the fuck out of me because it's like anti-competitive.
yeah. I do agree with that. I reckon, like, I was like suggesting a 10% point insta if you do that withdrawal like 24 hours before the tournament, like to disincentivize this VRS protected behavior and whatnot. Like, they obviously allow teams to pick and choose tournaments, but if a team's going to commit to a tournament and then withdraw 24 hours later to protect points, it's in 10% docking right away, or you consider lost to the other team.
Yeah, I mean, if you sign up and then bail, and assuming that they can't find a replacement, like a loss would be reasonable.
Yeah. Either way,
I'm kind of retarded when it comes to stuff like that, so I'm not as well read on like the rule book.
Yeah.
Out how the system kind of works.
Either way, I'm just going to say, like, once the kinks are worked out, the tier 2 scene's working and whatnot. I said this before as well, and I know like a lot of analysts are taking pot shots at it. Eventually, these teams who are up there, like Imperial Female and stuff like that, where they're not, where they should be, they're doing great against male teams. They're doing a lot better than female teams were doing previously, okay? I give them that. I've said that multiple times. There's some amazing work against some of those tier 1 teams. But they don't deserve to be there. They're not that great. And they're going to get found out, and that point's going to decay and decay and decay because they keep losing and whatnot. And they're not going to get invites. That's what's going to happen. And I have full faith in it, and it's already happening already. It's already been 2 months. These guys were acting like they're going to be there for years. I'm like, they're not. The decay, the tournament result only lasts for a year, and that's going to decay. I can understand ESL impact stuff where that's rated when men's team can't go in. I disagree with that. At this stage, if you're going to have that, you've got to separate the circuits, or something's going to change in particular. I reckon separates the.
I just think you have a unrated would fix it because like having any of like. Yeah. Having that the same way as like running an unrated event would just kind of fix it. I think you give them an exemption to like have as much prize money as they want and do all their other shit, but just to have it unrated towards VRS because it does feel a little bit like kind of scummy, not scummy, but like fucked, like messed up. If you're a tier 2 team and they win that prize money and get those VRS points over you and they like edge you out, but you had no chance to like fight for that money.
Yeah. That's what I agree with. Integrity, you either do what you said, make it unrated, or you split it out, make a separate circuit instead. Because obviously we're trying to get more women to play CS2. That's obviously the main goal in particular. But we need to do it in a way that entices women to come into the scene and play. Because obviously this is a big issue in OCE with what's happened recently. Because obviously the same 2 teams kept playing in the Cash Cups over and over again. But that's what we're trying to do overall in the ladies scene. And, we're doing quite well at it. I mean, you got a lot of teams, a lot of competition. Even though Imperial have won it 7 times in a row, those 7 times have been incredibly difficult. Because I was talking to their previous IGL, Vilga, about this. And Vilga said the last one was the hardest one they've done because these teams just don't let up. Even though they've won it 7 times, they're just like the competition gets harder and harder.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of makes sense, but
I
don't know. For some of that, the tournament, the circuit isn't like closed off. Like they can play in all these events. I don't think they're not playing or they're not choosing to play in. Like in Europe, there's just a bajillion qualifiers. Like there are events like every single day that you can play. I just don't think they're making it far enough to like get lists on HLTV. Because if you look at the HLTV, it's just ESL Impact, just like women's tournaments. There's not many like co-ed events. I think it's just because they get knocked out like before it goes HLTV. It's like in the open kind of bracket area of it.
We also,
you go, sir.
We also that's been one complaint as well, that one in particular. But we have been having a lot of complaints that tier 2 teams, like I think Endpoint shut down the division, quoting that they couldn't really find a way to get into tier 1 tournaments at all. And they felt like it's borderline impossible for any tier 2 team like Ents and Nip to get in. And basically they're like, how do you expect us to get up when nothing's ranked? That's what Snappy said from Ents.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think someone
sorry, Nip, not Ents. I got them confused with Glaive for Nip.
No, that's all good. But I think someone posted like some of the teams that they're versing, like they're actually versing like good tier, like before the VRS, these would be teams that would just be in like every CCT, constantly playing all these like online good tier 2 events. You maybe see them at like a pro league.
Yeah.
And he's versing them in these qualifiers. They're not on HLTV. They're not ranked in any way, and he's just bashing his head against the wall, trying to like make it through this absolute nightmare. And then you have teams like Hester that just like blatantly cheat.
Yeah. Okay. It was I think like, someone. Yes, I was trying to find that tweet before the start of the show. I found a lot of tweets about Ash and obviously Slend laughing about like how obvious it was. Dude, I gotta say, like this entire tournament, I was like looking at them play and I'm like going, bro, they're playing like me on CS2. Okay, I don't play CS2 that often. Their movement were fucking shit. Like that was just like me playing CS2. I'm like, bro, and they were nailing these insane timings. And I just basically said to Ash and DMs, I'm just like, bro, that was the worst CS I've ever watched. That's just like me playing CS. That's pretty much what I said.
Dude, did you watch the clip on Anubis where there was like the 1v3 and the guy like knifed out? Like he got half, but he was playing Temple. Like walked out with his knife out behind them and got like won the 1v3. It's like, dude, there's no fucking way you're ever doing that if you're not gonna radar up. Like not like got some assistance. And it was clear that it was just fixed as well. Like not only were they cheating, but they like had bet on the game and to lose like 1-2. You know, it's like gamble that they got a map or something like that.
Yeah.
There's like both times they beat Gamer Legion on a map, and there was another team they beat. Was it Fnatic maybe?
It was another team, but I didn't get far. They didn't get into IEM Dallas at all and stuff like that. That actually brought up another question as well, because obviously they take teams VRS points, and also they get VRS points themselves, where like TOs have to invite them to tournaments, and it's just like Valve aren't going to ban them unless they get vacked, and obviously. A lot of these cheats are working ahead of VAC, and someone's going to be like, but Valorant, and I'm like, Valorant has fucking cheaters too, okay? Like, their cheats not fucking foolproof.
There's so many. There's so many, like, high elo Radiant right now.
Yeah, but it's like,
with that,
how do you play this rat race?
There's a way around it, and I think CCT got punished for it, but basically, from what I understand, CCT talks to various, like, betting analytics companies that will tell them if there's like an integrity risk or there's like someone that has like problems associated with their team and they're like too risky to have playing the tournament, right? So they can blacklist those teams, but they have to provide a reason for it. And I think why CCT got fucked over is they didn't provide that reason for blacklisting teams. So I think if maybe people were a little bit more lenient with that, maybe they only had to provide it to Valve or provide it to somebody. That's like that they create.
Man, if ASIC existed.
If ASIC wasn't a pile of shit, it would be awesome.
And if ASIC didn't focus on the Australian scene too much.
Yeah, you had like 35 players banned or something, right?
Yeah, and I keep getting people being like, they fixed matches. Mate, did you look what they're banned for? No? Yeah, that's why you don't know.
Bring back Noobster, dude. I miss that guy. Noobster was great.
Yep.
But
it was funny.
It's just so fucked up.
It's funny because I'm like talking to some guys like, oh, didn't Rooster fix matches? I'm like, no. Do you know what Rooster got banned for? Betting on their own matches for themselves. That's what they got banned for. Because I talked to JHD about it, like what they did. Because obviously he got banned.
Yeah, that's still like so crazy though. Like I don't know, man. I feel like it's one thing to bet on. People got fucked for
betting on other matches. Yeah,
they called. No, but like wasn't it as well? They got banned or in trouble if they bet. Say they're playing ECL, right? Or ESL and Z, and they bet on like Pro League, actual like proper Pro League finals. Like even though it's a completely different region, they're not playing in it, like something like that.
Yeah, that's what they got banned on.
That's different to me.
Yeah,
that's different to me than like betting on your own game. Like even if you bet yourself to win, it's just started. Like you're asking for trouble.
There's only one person who got bet aggressively against themselves, obviously, and I think that was I forget his name. Willie K. Yes, he got banned for 5 years, and I don't care. Like you get banned for 5 years for doing that. I don't give a shit. Your match integrity, like get out the window, get out of CS because like that's And
I remember like we were. It was so common for like MDL teams when that was a thing to like be approached by like betting like groups and shit. Like I remember when I was like 16, it was like my first time ever playing. It was like 17 MDL. Like we were offered like 3K USD a match to throw games. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, it was also one guy, obviously one team got convicted over it as well because this is what I tell people as well.
I remember that.
Match fixing is a criminal offense in Australia. Okay, it's not a civil; it's a criminal offense. It's a conviction based.
Yeah,
like if
it's just dangerous, dude.
It is very dangerous because like it's I think it's considered. Whereas match fixing is a crime because if it's considered fraud, your job shit's out the window because like no one fucking hires anyone who does fraud. It's just Anyways, with the VRS overall for Australian teams in particular, I want to get back on topic with Australian teams. DFRAG helps, but it's going to be rough for anyone who outside of FlyQuest to get points. I know Ben has had frustrations as well with that. Like, he's been really annoyed that they can't get invited to events for VRS. Talon have had the same frustrations as well, where they, it's really struggled for them to get VRS points. And obviously, I just put Rooster in the Rooster as well because they want to love it, and also Mindfreak, because they want to get into events. But like, outside these one-off events in Australia, it's very hard to get VRS, and obviously I know Rooster will get a bit from the Asia tournament, but it's just like, how are you meant to qualify for like international events or even like tier 1, tier 2 international events? Like if you don't have enough VRS points in the first place, it's either you have to go to Europe and hopefully you can grind them out, or you stay in Australia and hope you can get high enough to get invited.
That's the thing. It's like if you're not living in Europe, you're unlucky, really. Like that's it. Like even in America, I think because they don't have as many events either. It's just like they have the revival catch cups and shit like that. But if you're not in Europe, unlucky, really. Like that's what it comes down to, because like you can't, unless you're going to every single Asian event and winning. Like I don't know if you can climb up the VRS enough to be like invited to consistently. As I said, it's just it's made the system more closed off. It's so much harder. And if you're not one of these teams that's like for us, right? We're not in ECL, dude. Like unless we win like DFRAG and any other events that we've qualified to with our current VRS points, you're never going to see us in an event when we get into ECL again. Well, and at that point, then you have to claw up through the ECL ladder again. Like, it's so punishing.
Yeah, I think ECL was like open qualifier plus 5 VRS spots, basically.
Yeah, we weren't available. Like, the team wasn't a thing at that point. So
no. So I meant from the future. No. That this year has been the old system. Now it's going to be the new system.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's kind of crazy then.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I like that then. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be open qualifier for it, but I'll just double check it. Overall, the Imperial Female, I actually told them this as well, because obviously I talked to a few of them. I said, you guys got to take these opportunities as you can get it, because you're not going to have this opportunity ever again. Like, after bat for them as well in certain areas, like foreign, for example, because all these people obviously rage bait for clicks. And I'm just like sitting there being like, wait 3 months, obviously there's obviously systematic issues, but like, teams that shouldn't be there, they get ironed out pretty quickly. And it's happening already. And we have these people in January.
The argument is that like as soon as they get the impact, like assuming they win the next impact, which they probably will, right? They've won all of them. Why would they stop now? They'll just go back to like wherever they were to get invited again, Like it's not like they'll decay and then they won't be able to get back up. They'll probably just win another impact and they're back up, or maybe they'll go even higher because their full points haven't decayed yet. I
reckon they won't have enough, in my opinion. Like I reckon it will work against them because they'll lose so much points that even if they win, I don't think it will be enough.
Okay.
But that's my opinion.
I haven't done like the math on exactly how much points they get, but I understand why people have these problems.
Oh, dude, so do I. Like, I agree with them wholeheartedly. Like, I've been thinking of ways to solve the problem, but entice women to come and still play CS. Because obviously, bigger market shares, like, really, really good. There's a lot of people who don't understand that. I mean, having foreign rage bait on Ana was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, like, in quite a while. Like, it was, like, from an analysis point of view. Because, first of all, he put up a HLTV page of her, which was completely fucking wrong. Like, really wrong. Like, it was, like, LAN events. So what he did was that he acted like it was LAN events of all time, but it was actually LAN events from 1 month, which he had a really bad game in one of those series. And he put that as of all time and put it with HLTV Woman of the Year 22, 23, 24. But if you actually put it to all time, she's all green.
Well, yeah, because like she's versing women on LAN.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Like, so
no.
It's not that bad. Like, it's
what I'm saying is that he said it like it was. He wasn't saying Player of the Year. He was saying Woman Player of the Year, and it's putting her worst game as the thing. Like, I'm not saying competitive against the men's or whatnot. It's against in Impact. She's actually very good at Impact.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that she's not a tier 1 or like that she's a tier 1 AWP. I'm arguing like that's a bad representation because she is good at the Impact scene. Like,
yeah, I mean she's good at the Impact scene. It's just more that like is struggling hard
against tier 1
like, the open circuit.
100%. Like, I don't like, as I said before, I agree with you. Imperial female should not be in the top 32. They're not good enough.
I think that's what it was more like, kind of joking about, than sexism or anything like that.
Oh no, it wasn't so about sexism. I was just misrepresenting data. I don't care. Like, the isms argument, I don't care about it. Okay, but if you're misrepresenting someone's stats, I care about it. Okay. Because like you gotta get the right stats out there, otherwise like you come out with the wrong conclusions and you start like hate trains against people and stuff like that based on false bullshit.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, like you can't have that. Like, at least get stuff in front of you before you do it. Like, for example, like the tier 2 scene, like Bailey any tournaments. Yeah, like that. There's some data backing it up that if they don't have a tier 2 scene, no one's gonna fucking play. Like, why would you start a team that has no chance to make a major?
Yeah.
And also when Endpoint kind of give up. I know Endpoint were probably circling the drain quite a bit, and I could probably see Pete going in a way where they just provide boot camps because they've got fucking heaps of facilities if you've ever been to England. Like, I've
never been.
I think Semperfi, I'm not sure. I should ask Ben. Like, someone's used their facilities in Australia, and they have a lot of people do like boot camps in their areas as well. So I felt like this is kind of a end point. Yeah, excuse the pun for them. Because they were also doing like this.
They've been around they're like a historic org almost as well. Like, they've been around for like at least 10, 12. Like, I remember seeing them when I like started CS.
Yeah, and they also have told me as well that their CS team is just basically a marketing for like all the advertisers and whatnot, because they said like anytime we get good, fucking OG ends are sniffing around and take the best players. Flames, Spinks. Oh no, they didn't have Spinks. Flamesy, Heavy God. I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to think of all the players that they sniped. There's another person they sniped. Pardon?
Mezzy,
yeah, that's right. Oh no, Mezzy's from Game of Legion. That's who they got. That's who they got him from.
Wasn't it before that though?
No,
I might think of someone else.
I think you're speaking of someone else. I think Mezzy never. I'm trying to think. I'll get King Mezzy up shortly. Okay, I'm very sure Mezzy was not in Endpoint. No, Mezzy was in Vexed. That's where Game of Legion picks him up from. Yep. Let me double check. Yeah, maybe I misread it. No, he was an Endpoint at one point. He was an Endpoint in the end.
There we go.
Yep. He got. Oh, that's right. He was part of that Cloud9 lineup, and that didn't go so great. And then he joined Endpoint. And that's when he went into Fnatic, and now he's in Vitality. But yeah, I guess I felt bad when the Game of Legion lost him, to be honest, because I'm just like, dude, he's just so good.
He was overqualified, to be fair. Like,
yep.
Gotta be happy for him making his way up.
Oh, definitely. And Ash still wants him back, okay? Maybe come back. Because Ash was, I think, was coach for Game of Legion at that stage. Because he's been coached for a while. So I remember when he had, which roster was it? He had this, not the whole Swedish roster, was before that. I'm trying to figure out what he had. That's right, he had Emer in the team. He had Mezzy, Emer together. Zero, Era, and Rusty.
He had Link. I don't know how much he followed Valorant, but he had Link as well. He was like a very good EU player at the start of Valorant. Yeah. It was on like his older team. There was like it was like a Reflections or like a one of those like kind of interview style videos with
Yeah.
Thorin, with Ash. It was like both of them, and dude, it was crazy. Like the shit that they had to like kind of get through. It's a good video. I highly recommend you watch it if you like Ash.
Oh, of course.
Because he's probably like my favorite coach right now.
I was like, I was like, I think I was joking. I was like, another big bold fraud, Moses, and then Ash.
Yeah. Like, we gotta make more people bold, man. It's like,
oh man,
it's coming back into fashion, dude.
Talking about though, I remember Zero. That team. Zero is now producer for Stico and Ash. By the way, he's like really talented according to both of them. I
like the Hellraisers guy.
Zero. Yeah, I think he was on Hellraisers as well. Oh, you talking about Stico or talking about Zero?
Zero.
Yeah.
Oh, they were both on Hellraisers.
Yeah, that's right. They're both on Hellraisers. Okay. And the funny thing about him, okay, I remember versing him. This is what got me to the cheaters stuff of Game of Legion. When Zero versed cheaters from Mad Villainy, and Zero one round was just raging out. He just held W the Mac 10, killed all 5 of them, and he was just like, fuck you. Because they were clearly cheating. He just held W, killed all of them, got a tie ace, and he just like, he just went in this rage. It was just like holding the W key, just ended them. And I was just cackling so hard. Like they couldn't counter him. The cheats didn't help because he peeked them on every duel.
Yeah. I think Flo, like, do you ever watch Flo's old videos in CS?
No.
He's like a frag video guy.
Yep.
Like way back in the day, right? Like old school.
Mm-hmm.
I think he made a video of Zero. He made one of Frozen as well.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember, like, so insane. I remember like looking at all his like warm up routine and like what settings he used and things, because he was like unique. He had a kind of like unique style watching him. Like, kind of, he set himself apart from other players.
Yep.
Fucking sick though. Sick.
It
it's
is.
good to see that he's still like kind of around the scene.
Yep. Like it is production value, I've got to say, for Ash's videos and Stico's videos is insane. Like if you've watched Ash's videos, right?
I think I've seen one of his like
the Virtus Pro one.
Where he's like talking about strats. It was the first. It was like one of the first ones he uploaded like recently, because he's kind of been uploading more commonly.
Yeah.
More frequently now. Where he didn't much before, but it was, I don't know. I think it was like a Vertigo video, right? We were talking about like how he won a Vertigo game, or it was like an anti-trap Vertigo.
Yeah, like the production value of that is mostly from Zero. Like,
yeah, it's fucking sick.
That's how insane. Like, I'm looking at these videos going, holy fucking shit! Like, these are so good. And let's get back onto VRS. And I'm gonna say, I think VRS is a good system. There's just a lot of kinks to work out. And it's just so hard to transition from like a franchise system to a non-franchise system where rating matters, and to just get it right on the first instance. Like, it didn't stick to landing. I didn't expect it to stick to landing. It's just fucking difficult. But once the kinks iron out and there's a sustainable tier 2 scene, and Valve maybe back off and relax some of the rules, it's just going to be business as usual. And it's going to lead to a lot of competitiveness between the TOs. To be fair, I think ESL is still somehow going to win out, and it's going to like have to put a lot of the other TOs back to the tier 2 scene, or just work in between. But I feel overall, like, I don't think we should scrap it. I think it's probably one of the better systems that we've got. There's obviously new ideas and new solutions as well for obviously balancing the women's scene. The reason why I suggest is to split the circuits, because VRS seems to operate a lot off tennis, with the WTA tour and whatnot. So I feel like splitting the circuit would be the better idea, because obviously they split the circuit in tennis. But then again, tennis is also a physical sport where being a woman and being a man do matter a lot more compared to a computer game. Now, obviously, I know it still matters compared to a computer game based on average, reflexes and whatnot. But it's not as, much as, of course, a woman's biological features and a man's biological features on tennis, on how long you can last and whatnot. Yeah. So, there's stuff like that. There are differences. But that's my opinion, like, with VRS. Like, it's a well-working system. There's just a few kinks in it at the moment. Obviously, they have disastrous impacts in particular. But, at the end of it, this is just a 3-month period where we're just getting used to it. And then later on, everyone's going to be loving that system. And when they put the new VRS 2.0, they're going to be like, bring back VRS, okay? It's going to happen again.
Look, I agree with most of that. I don't think people will ever want this system to come back when the new updated version is back. 'Cause, dude, I think it has potential to be really good. It's just like its current iteration is so dodgy, dude. There's so many problems. I feel a lot of it could have been avoided by taking, because like Valve's main thing is that they don't talk to the community. They don't really take community feedback much. They kind of just do their thing, right? They're in the shadows. They do their thing. They drop it. That's how it is, right? Whereas Riot's like the opposite, but and they're just like smothering almost. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I think it will be good. They just need to fix the problem, right? Because obviously they couldn't have those franchise systems work forever, and there were like other. I think it was Richard Lewis was like doing a video on like what, like one of the Middle East and like Saudi Arabian like tournament organizers was going to try to do to like rival ESL's Louvre agreement.
Yeah.
Blah, something like that. And it was
with the stipend payments. Yeah.
Yeah. It was looking like it was going to be pretty extreme. And so I'm glad this came through when it did. Stopped a lot of that shit. But I just think that there needs to be things like, you know, punishing tournament organizers that schedule events and then just cancel them, dude. Like there has to be some kind of something to disincentivize that, because like you see Sky Esports have like
and Starlighter
these events in the calendar. Well, Starlighter's one from, was it Starlighter or PGL that like the actual venue like told them to fuck off? One of them recently, like it was last week.
It was I know Starlighter stopped because they got purchased by a company related to ESL. PGL, they were saying Krakow, and then next day no Krakow.
Yeah, but I saw, I think it was one of the guys at PGL was saying that it was the people that they had rented the venue from, or like booked it, like rescinded it, or like told them they couldn't do it anymore. Like it wasn't on them for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's just at least what I've read. I could be wrong. Yeah. Anyway, there needs to be some kind of punishment for if a tournament organizer like Sky Sports books a bunch of events, you know, fills out the calendar and then just like cancels them. Like that can't be a thing, because it's gonna fuck up visa processes for people. It's gonna cause so many different problems.
And also, not to mention as well, like no one can like plan those times, because you would announce your tournament to 2 years ahead.
Yeah. And if like you accept the invite and you accept, say, Sky Sports' invite, but you turn down someone else's invite,
exactly,
like, you're fucked now. Like ridiculous. And there should be something in place to kind of like incentivize that,
like it's going to be like a feasibility study. Like it's going to be, hey, you've got an event here. You've got like, let's say for example, to avoid the cacao scenario, you've got 3 potential venues you can be at.
Yeah.
And that's when you can go in. The 2-year rule was a bit of a punishment as well on a lot of tutorials, because I don't think a lot of these buildings rent out 2 years in advance. So
2 years is a lot of extreme.
Yeah.
It's like you're an org and you're like trying to plan out your year. Like it's nice if you're like Spirit on Navi, but it kind of sucks if you're, like if you're like a Rooster, it would if you're one of the TOs,
I was gonna say, from the TO's perspective, I even talked about it to MJ, and MJ was talking about, marketing and stuff like that, okay? Like, they plan their year out in advance, and there's certain dates if you want to get shit in, you got to get shit in before then. And if he's only planning a year in advance, I don't think anyone else is planning 2 years in advance, and MJ's really dedicated. Like, he's, like, the expert in that area. And I'm like, if they are organizing a year in advance, I don't think anyone else is ordering 2 years in advance.
Yeah, it'd only be like the big ESLs and shit like that. Like, most people, especially for like local events, like they're constantly doing that locally, man. Like, come on.
Which one?
But like no one is doing like planning more ahead than MJ, like locally. Like,
so I mean, exactly.
Like, your ESLs and your PGL probably could manage that fine. Like in Australia, it's not a chance. So I think it does fuck over like the smaller regions a fair bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think I did hear Jordan Elvish talk about this as well. Like with geographic challenges, that the Australian scene is going to get more and more ignored. because there's no VRS points to really play for. Mon's raging again because I mentioned MJ. Come on, like, not being a sucker, but he, like, you know, he's talked about on my show. Monitor's wrecking me for this.
Well, look, Monitor's the same, right? Like, they're two peas in a pod.
Yeah, they are. But, you know, you guys have to get 10 rounds against Mind Freak before MJ appears in chat. You guys know that, right? That's his summoning condition.
I will make that happen.
Yep, 10 rounds. 10 rounds, MJ will just wake up in a cold sweat. You know how you said it? Yeah, insomnia, you wake up in a cold sweat thinking about rounds. He thinks about Mind Freak got 10 rounds scored against him.
Oh, we'll sort it.
Yep.
But, yeah, I just think that when the system gets the changes that they need.
Yeah.
But for now, it sucks for everyone. And I think most people, if you could ask them, would they rather play in the system as is or the old system?
Yeah.
They would pick the old system.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have faith that the new system will improve, iron out the kinks, and it will be superior to the old system eventually. It's just like that now, and it's just kind of sucks to be, you know, one of these teams that look to the CCTs as your way to gain, you know, the HLTV ranking points and to get, you know, recognition and invites for big events. You know, now CCT is just nothing. Like you're just playing it for money, and practice doesn't actually get you anywhere. It doesn't get you higher up in the ladder.
Exactly.
Same like the Gala Compass and shit like that.
Exactly. I 100% agree. I reckon that will get fixed eventually. With that, I know they've been a bit more lenient to CCT now, which is great. They're having a dialogue with them. Also, as well, I reckon if Valve want to, just throw money at Mezio, okay, the complexity guy, just throw money at him.
Oh, yeah, dude, he's
because
awesome.
He's done a lot of research and stuff like that into it. And I feel like just complexity, just find another roster manager and just hire Mezio. Okay, like just get Valve, just go up to him right away and get him to just be the VRS SAR because he's probably going to fix it all in about 3 or 4 months because he's very, very dedicated and fuck, he does way too much research. Like, I don't know how he gets the time to do complexity research as well, given how much he's just really studied the entire scene. Like, he loves Excel. That's all I'm just going to say. He just must fucking love Excel. He's even logged all the complexity travel times as well previously. The guy's probably got to...
I watched... Did you ever see the video he did with like Snake and Banter?
Yeah.
I think he was on
he was on that, yeah.
Banter. It was 4 Horsemen as well.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's actually incredible. Like, that guy needs a raise. Unless he's already on a King's Ransom.
Excel tires me, but Excel doesn't tire that man.
Yeah. It's impressive.
I can imagine his Google tabs would just be 20 Google Docs of Excel, okay? Like, literally it, okay? It'd be an Excel Olympics, okay? Be like, hey, we recognize... Oh, it's him. It's the fucker from Complexity. You know they have that, right? Like, they have World Championships for Microsoft Excel, and it's just filled with financial advisors. I'm not even kidding.
I saw fucking Richard Lewis had a video where he was like going through like obscure esports titles, and he found like he did like he covered the Excel Championship or something like that. It's fucking mental.
You know what the funny shit is, because obviously I'm a financial advisor. I think it was like 7 out of the 8 people were all financial advisors, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not that good at Excel, okay?
It's I had to do like some little course on it in uni. It's so AIDS, dude. It's so AIDS. Yeah. I would happily never use Excel again. It sucks. It
has its fun, but it's just like not fun.
Respect to him to be able to do that, because I certainly could not spend that much time in Excel without losing my marbles.
Yep. Anyways, that is going to be it for today. We did a long discussion. You've beaten both Rufflecoat, Foggers, MJ, and also Monosar in the length of the podcast, 3 hours. But we got a lot done, and also you have a lot to discuss because you're kind of like, would it be fair to like compare you to Rice in a way, where like you've gone in multiple esports and gone overseas? You know, I'm talking about WRYCE.
Oh, right.
Yeah, talk about him.
Yeah. I mean, the difference was that I'm good though, so that's fine.
Oh, you're really trashing on him already. Okay. I think he's alright, but okay.
Alright.
Yeah, all good, man.
That's the difference, But yeah, thank you for having me on. I do appreciate it greatly.
No, thank you for coming on as well. Really appreciate it coming on at last notice, like late notice.
Yeah, all good. My apologies for being late as well.
No, all good. Obviously you're playing an official. And also you subbed in, so it's just like, hey, I just need a quick dinner, quick drink. Yeah, that's it.
Busy fucking day. I'm so tired.
Anyways, I'll let you go. And thank you guys for tuning in as well. Really, really appreciate it. And hope to see you guys later. Obviously with Joshin-Strike, we'll be doing 2 weeks of, it'll be every fortnight. Also with Crunchy as well. You have a Twitch channel. I think it's Crunchy_AU. Is that right?
Yeah, Crunchy AU on Twitch, and then Twitter is just Crunchy World with 2 Y's.
Okay, yep. And also as well, people on YouTube, I'll put them in the comments, or not comments, sorry, the description, so you can go follow Crunchy wherever. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys later. Peace out. Bye.